As the city of St. Louis celebrates one sports championship and seeks to find another this year, Minnesota, as they have done in the past, most notably in 1987, looks to deny them that chance at a championship. From St. Mary's High School in South St. Louis, it is the WFA playoffs where the Minnesota Vixen, your Minnesota Vixen, face off against the St. Louis Slam. Alongside the voice of the Vixen, Brian Sweeney, I am Alex Westhead. And Brian, the last time we came here about 3 weeks ago, yes, it was a little humid. Yes, it was a little difficult to call a game at times, but on the field, the result for the Vixen, not necessarily what it could have been.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked, actually, to be honest with you, Alex. When we were here Memorial Day weekend, we saw number 10, Connor Joe Lewis, go down with what seemed pretty bad injury. And here now we see her actually fully dressed, walking out to take part in the coin toss. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can get out of Connor Joe after what I personally thought was going to be a season-ending injury a few weeks ago.
Well, we'll certainly see how the Vixen choose to play. A full roster tonight, a very complete roster compared to what we've seen in the past, and they'll certainly need that as the playoffs start tonight, as Minnesota, the number 3 team in the Massey ratings, faces off against St. Louis. And really, if you put this in a WFA Division II championship game, this game might be in that conversation, because we should have a good one on our hands here tonight.
Yeah, personally, I mean, the other American Conference game going on tonight will be starting a couple hours after right now, and that will be in Colorado, when the Mile High Blaze are taking on the Houston Energy. And really, in my opinion, that game is second. This game has more of the makings of a championship game.
Meanwhile, on the NFC side, or the National Conference side, a couple of teams that the Vixen or the Slam could have a chance of facing off against at the Colorado School of Mines on July the 13th, as the New York Wolves face off against Pittsburgh, and Detroit makes the journey to Columbus on the national side of the bracket. We are awaiting the coin toss here from St. Mary's High School, and we'll await the designation. Again, as you may have noticed the last time if you're watching us from St. Louis, we are right by a microphone which projects to the PA system here, so we are going to get a little additional feedback. Shouldn't be anything too bad. But with everything underway, it looks like we should be able to start this football game right about 7 o'clock local time here in the southern part of St. Louis. It's been a very busy day. Started out cool, but now it's become a typical June day in the wonderful state that is Missouri.
Yeah, it's currently 85 degrees. I was down on the field beforehand talking to a few of the players and coaches, which I always do as I'm walking around with my Slurpee. And, you know, the heat coming off that field, I want to say it's closer to probably 90, 92 when you're looking at the field service.
Well, all the Vixen coaching staff is in their shorts today, and we'll see again. As we saw in the first matchup, it was the Slam got out to an early start where a turnover on downs for Minnesota really forced St. Louis and gave them great field position. They were able to capitalize early on some miscues there by the Minnesota Vixen.
Of course, both teams now are on the respective sidelines, hyping up the rest of their players. Minnesota Vixen, of course, with their squad up. Started, of course, by 21-year veteran Red Bryant.
Well, as the Slam take the field to much applause here at St. Mary's High School, it is a good crowd for a short notice game. Again, the playoff schedule itself was released last week as the teams concluded their regular seasons. The St. Louis Slam at 8-0, closing out their season last week at home against Columbus, the Division III Columbus. And, of course, your Minnesota Vixen, you were with us last week in Iowa when we closed out that regular season with the victory over the Iowa Phoenix. It'll be St. Louis kicking off here. They'll kick off left to right across your screen. And the Minnesota Vixen will be back to return. Kaya Segula in the backfield. She started last week's game against Iowa with a kickoff return touchdown for 84 yards. We'll see if she's able to duplicate that feat tonight. And as the Slam take the field, it'll be Kaylee Knightsling, who has, in that last matchup between the Vixen and the Slam, was an absolute stud. Kickoff return touchdown, a couple of receiving touchdowns as well, so somebody that the Vixen will have to try to contend with tonight.
Yeah, Minnesota's definitely going to have to contain her if they want to have success tonight.
And as the sun begins to set here in St. Louis, we were supposed to get some storms later. I think that'll hold off, fortunately, and we should be able to play an excellent game of football here tonight. So as the whistle blows and the kickoff set to begin, 15 minutes on the clock here to start this opening quarter of play. And you hear the crowd here in St. Louis getting fired up and ready to go. They've been partying all day, and that energy has certainly carried over here to St. Mary's High School. Knightsling Winds up, and the kick is a good one. That one's going to go way back into the end zone where Segula will play it on a hop. She'll pick it up at the 5, across to the 10. Find some space here to the 20, trying to cut to the outside. It's evading tackles there, trying to cut it back, still spinning, but she's tackled down at the 22. And that's where Minnesota will start 1st and 10 from their own 22-yard line.
You know, a lot of things are said about whether or not you let the ball go into the end zone, take the touchback, but obviously Segula saw something down the field there that she knew she could get additional yards beyond the 20 that would have been given to her.
Your Minnesota Vixen offensively in scoring near the top in the WFA, 33.4 points per game. That's 6th. Good for 6th in Division 2. Offensive yards per game, 29.9. That's good for 8th. Rushing the ball, 191.6. Good for 4th. And passing the ball, 99.2, which is good for 10th in Division 2. Your Vixen will start the drive here, moving right to left across your screen. Emily Evans is the quarterback. And she'll await the snap as the handoff is to Cooper. Cooper met in the backfield and then taken down by the Slam. And that's something we saw a lot last time, where the Slam can get into the backfield in a hurry. I believe that was Camila Russell on the tackle for St. Louis. It'll be 2nd and 14 here from the Minnesota 18-yard line.
Now, one thing we saw when we were in Iowa last week is Minnesota could bounce back from a stop like that. There was a couple times that the Phoenix got through the line fairly quickly, but Minnesota made some adjustments, and they were able to then get good compensation after that. So I'm not worried yet. I think they can pull this out.
Vixen work out of the shotgun here. Cooper in the backfield with Evans. Segula flanked out to the left, along with McIsaac and Murphy out to the right. They fake the handoff. Bubble screen. Here's caught by Kate Murphy. Murphy hit immediately as she crosses the 20, and she will go down there after a short gain. It'll be 3rd down. And for St. Louis on the tackle, it was Tori Davis getting in there for the stop. Gain of 2. So 3rd and 12 here from the Minnesota 20 with 13:29 and counting. You'll notice that this week we have a score clock again. If you were with us last week, the scoreboard in Iowa was not working, so we didn't know the time. Thankfully, we do this week. Evans out of the shotgun, has Cooper in the backfield with her, gets a snap. She'll drop back a couple of steps, looks and goes down, is back into the backfield to get her. Is a member of the St. Louis Slam, I believe. It was number 47, Brooklyn Devitt. And Devitt, one of the leaders for the Slam in tackles and in sacks. And for Devitt, that'll be sack number 2 on the season.
You know, and Evans was lucky there. Evans had her arm cocked back. She was ready to release that ball, and at the last minute, out of the corner of her eye, she definitely saw her approaching for that sack, so she was able to grip that ball tighter and prevent a ball from being knocked loose.
So the ball spotted back at the Minnesota 14-yard line. It'll be punt formation here. Tank Nelson to do the punting, and Knightsling stands right at the Minnesota 43-yard line. As the players communicate, Nelson awaits the punt. As she'll get a right-footed kick high into the air. Knightsling will wave it off, and it'll bounce at the 35 and then gets a favorable St. Louis bounce as the Vixen did not touch it. It'll be 1st and 10 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 25.
Definitely not the opening series that Minnesota was hoping for here. You know, this is definitely, as you and I have talked about, this is the playoffs now, so there is no game if you can't pull out the victory today.
12:15 remaining here in this first quarter. No score here from St. Mary's High School, just south of the St. Louis Arch, Crisco Miller Field. And as the Slam come to the line here, their offense, potent as it is, and we'll see how well they're able to do it. They average 38.9 points per game. That's good for 3rd in Division 2. And offensively, for passing, or for any offensive yards at all, 343.3 yards. That's also good for 4th. Jamie Gall, the quarterback for St. Louis, along with Taylor Hay in the backfield. She was a threat last time these two teams met as well. As Gall gets the snap, handoff is to Hay, spin move, trying to get through, brought down though after a short gain. Couple of Vixen in there, I believe Sil Winton was in there. And a short gain, it'll be 2nd and 9. So 2nd and 9 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 24-yard line. Hay, as a rusher, 83 carries for 552 yards and 4 touchdowns. As we'll go shotgun formation, Hay in the backfield. Night Sling flanked well out to the left side. So go 4 receiver set this time. Gall gets the snap. Steps up into the pocket, throwing for Night Sling. Incomplete, but a penalty flag is thrown. We may get pass interference here.
Yeah, number 26, Caitlin Hill on the coverage there. Looks like she came in a little bit early on that.
And the flag is going to be picked up. It'll be third down.
There is no flag on the play. Third down and 9.
So they'll say no penalty there. It'll be 3rd and 9 upcoming here for St. Louis. And after that quick drive by Minnesota, this is definitely the start that the defense wanted to see.
Definitely. Minnesota always ranks towards the top with their defense. Whether it's sacks, points allowed, any of those types of situations. They're only allowing 8 points per game average this season, with their highest allowed game previously when we were here in St. Louis.
The Vixen on the sideline lauding for this Minnesota crowd here. The many of folks that have made the 500-mile journey down here to St. Louis to make some noise here on 3rd and 9 from the Minnesota 24. Gall, the quarterback, out of the shotgun. She'll get the snap, drops back into the pocket, steps up, throwing to the right side. Too far, incomplete. Night Sling fell down. It was intended for the receiver. No, Vixen got a hand on it, but 4th down upcoming.
Yeah, that's just what Minnesota needed after a punt that didn't quite go their way, after the sack of Emily Evans in that first possession, was to cause the Slam here to have to go 3 and out. But Slam looks like they might be trying to go for something on 4th down as they're looking over to their coach for what play to call.
Looks like they will go for it, as you said, Brian, here on 4th and 9 from the Minnesota 24-yard line. Night Sling is their field goal kicker. She was nailing it from the 40. So they'll choose to go for it. Here's the playoffs. You do tend to take a bigger shot here, so they'll go pistol formation. Jamie Gall cocks the leg, sends Price in motion to the right. Handoff is to Hay. Hay up the middle, trying to go off to the right. She's found an edge here on the right side. To the 15, to the 10. Hay taken down, though, in the backfield. It was Hill who got the tackle, but first down, St. Louis.
What a great call by St. Louis's coaching staff there to hand off the ball and have Hay go far right and up the sideline for the most part there. There was great blockage being thrown on Hill as well, and if that one last block actually pushed Hill into the runner, which allowed that tackle to be made.
So 1st and 10 for St. Louis. 1st and goal, really, from the Minnesota 10-yard line. As so far, shades of the earlier matchup between the Vixen and the Slam. As Gall will send Price in motion again from right to left. Flip is to Price. Price cuts it out there to the 10. Gets to the 5. There's a flag that's thrown, and she'll be knocked out of bounds. Touchdown is the call. We'll see what the flag is.
There is a flag on the play.
Yeah, it looked like there was holding on that call there. And it is going to go against St. Louis. So that touchdown will be taken off the board, and they'll also have to march back with those penalty yards.
So the touchdown taken off the scoreboard, as they'll march the 10 yards off for the holding call. And again, another well-designed play by the St. Louis Slam as they'll back up the ball. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 17-yard line, right in between the two. And so as the play comes in here from the St. Louis sideline, 10:31 remaining here in the opening quarter. Receiving-wise, Price is the leader for St. Louis. 19 receptions on the year, 393 yards and 5 touchdowns, a long of 79. Shotgun formation for Gall. Hay in the backfield. Will send Price in motion again on the opposite side. Throw is to Night Sling. Pass is complete across the 15, and she's taken down at the 12 on a good tackle there by the Vixen.
Gain of 6 on the play. So it'll be 2nd down, goal to go.
And it'll be 2nd and goal here on a gain of 6, and we have a timeout as a Vixen is down. Not sure of the number yet. As we'll get a stoppage in play here with 10-12 remaining in the first quarter. No score.
Hey fans, tonight's live broadcast of Game of the Week is brought to you by Town Square Television and Ritchie Media Group. You can follow the Vixen on Town Square Television this season on Comcast Channel 14, townsquare.tv, and on Facebook Live. Also special thanks to the community stations around the Twin Cities for their support of the Minnesota Vixen.
Sil Winton, the injured Vixen, as they're working their way, to the sideline again. You'll see what the Slam are able to dial up. It'll be 2nd and goal here from the Minnesota 12-yard line. on this 6th play of the opening drive for St. Louis.
Vixen fans, did you know that the Vixen's official integrative sports care provider is Northwestern Health Sciences University? Because peak performance begins with consistent integrative care. Coverage of this game of the week is brought to you by Northwestern, located in Bloomington, Minnesota. More info is available at nwhealth.edu. That's nwhealth.edu.
So as the Vixen return to the line here, the Slam will play offense. Moving left to right across your screen. It'll be shotgun formation. Gall, the quarterback. Hay in the backfield. Receivers spread out. This ball is given to Hay up the middle. Follows a blocker down to the 10 before taken down from behind, and a great tackle to get in there by Madison Schmatz. For Schmatz on the year, that'll be tackle number 26. She's second, or tied for second, with Sil Winton for tackles on this Minnesota team.
Yeah, and you mentioned Sil Winton. Sil Winton, an All-American in their rookie season, and they are, with the trainer still, getting looked over to make sure that they are available to go back out should they be needed.
So 3rd and goal for St. Louis from the Minnesota 9. You would think it'd be 4-down territory here this close. Gall out of the shotgun. Hay off to her left. And she'll throw to Neitzel again. The slant route, which worked for them last time, doesn't work. Here's the ball, falls incomplete.
So 4th and goal, obviously we know St. Louis is going to go for it here. They went for it when they were much further out with great success. The question here is, what plan are you going to draw up? Are you going to go with Neitzel? Are you going to go with Hay? Or what are you going to do here if you're the St. Louis Slam?
Looks like St. Louis will change out some players. They may look to go for the field goal here. Neitzel is their field goal kicker. And on the season, she is 2 for 4. And that's exactly what they will line up to do. So Neitzel, it'll end up being about a 25, 26-yard field goal. The ball is down, the right-footed kick is up, and it is good. And after a short field, good play for Minnesota, leaving St. Louis with only the 3 as a Slam lead by a score of 3-0.
Yeah, St. Louis did what they needed to do there. You know, they had a great drive, 3 rushes, 4 pass attempts, only 1 completed, and they come away with the 3 points to give themselves the early lead in this game.
So 3-0, St. Louis leads, 9:28 remaining here in this first quarter of play. Again, the winner of this game tonight will host a Mile High or Houston next week.
Hey, coverage of this game of the week is sponsored in part by Blue Frame Technology, the premier end-to-end streaming provider for sports organizations across the United States. With over 600 clients in NCAA Division I, II, and III conferences, along with other sports leagues, more info about Blue Frame's end-to-end solution for production, management, and distribution for video streaming is available at blueframetech.com.
A reminder, folks, if you're watching us on Facebook Live tonight, please remember to hit that donations button to allow us to continue to do our best Minnesota Vixen coverage throughout this season and again into next year's season. We've really enjoyed doing this, and we want to be able to bring you these games once again wherever the Vixen may travel in 2020. Neitzel, the kickoff specialist, she'll run up to the ball from the 35, and the ball slings itself here to the left, in and out of the hands of the back returning, and I believe it's Kate Murphy. Murphy trying to get through. No, it's not Kate Murphy. That's Belle McGrath. McGrath pushed down out of bounds. And the ball there, a nice return by Caitlin Hill again, and she'll get a nice return. And there's a flag on the field coming in from the back judge. It'll be an illegal block in the back, and that'll back up the Vixen, but they'll have the ball after a 3-and-out and a punt on their first drive.
Yeah, Minnesota Vixen, you really got to be happy with their defense there. St. Louis started with excellent field position on their drive, came all the way down, and yet only came away with the 3 points. You look at how Minnesota played against St. Louis the last time we were down here, they would have came away with a touchdown. So Minnesota did their homework, and they're definitely here to stop St. Louis.
So on the second drive for Minnesota with 9:17 remaining in this first quarter of play, they'll run 1st and 10 from their own 15-yard line. They started their first drive up at the 22, so a loss in some yardage there. It'll be a shotgun formation here for Evans. Cooper in the backfield. Segula out to the left. Handoff is to Cooper. Cooper goes off to the right side, up the middle, gets back to the 15, and that's where Grace Cooper will be stopped. It'll be 2nd down.
Number 42, Grace Cooper, the ball carrier. Gaining a yard on the play.
Yeah, you know, Cooper coming into this game is 2nd in rushing for the Vixen with 334 yards on 52 carries. She's only got 1 touchdown for the season. Excuse me, 5 touchdowns for the season. My printer paper kind of got messed up here on the side. But, she does have that 25-yard long.
So it'll be 2nd and 9 here from the Minnesota 16 for the Vixen. They'll go shotgun formation again. Cooper in the backfield with Evans. Segula and Murphy out to the left as a handoff is to Cooper. She tries to go right side again, but is met again by that St. Louis Slam defensive line for a loss of 1. It'll be 3rd down.
Loss of the yard on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
So it'll be 3rd and 10 here from the Minnesota 15. And the Vixen are starting to go backwards as Bella McGrath will come into the game. For McGrath, 44 carries, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns. We have yet to see Tank Nelson into the running game, but we expect to keep the three-headed beast that is this Minnesota Vixen offensive rushing unit. We expect to see them all working together before too long. Shotgun formation. Evans gets a snap. Draw play for Cooper. Cooper met in the backfield, and she'll go back for a loss of 3.
Yeah, definitely something's not working tonight for Cooper. They've ran that play multiple times. That's Cooper's 4th time on the carry this game. And each time it has been for a loss. So, not to tell the coaches what to do, because obviously if I knew how to coach, I'd be on that side of the heated incubus that we're in right now. But you got to look at something. What is St. Louis doing to stop Grace right now, and what can you do to change that?
So far for Minnesota on the evening, they have lost a total of 9 yards. Punt formation, Nelson the punter. A right-footed kick looked like it was blocked. It'll roll at the 30, down to the 35, continuing to bounce. It'll roll back then, a St. Louis bounce, and it'll be fielded there by Tilly Tilford at the Minnesota 35. So another drive starting for St. Louis in Minnesota territory.
Yeah, you're definitely going to wear out your defense fast if you're continuing to allow your opponent to start in your own end of the field.
So 6:52 remaining here, 3-0, the St. Louis Slam lead. For St. Louis, their first drive, an 8-play drive, resulted in a 26-yard field goal for Kaylee Knightsling.
And we do have Sil Witten back on the field, so obviously their meeting with the trainer went well, and they are back in action.
1st and 10 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 35-yard line, shotgun formation. Gall, the quarterback, with Taylor Hay out to the left. And they'll go trips out to the far left with an extra line person right on the offensive line. The handoff is, a fake play there, as they try to go to Knightsling, incomplete.
That was a great play. I don't think we've seen a play like that yet this season, Alex, where the quarterback fakes the handoff and the runner goes up the middle. Usually when you fake the handoff, you're going left or right. You're almost never going dead center.
So for Jamie Gall, the quarterback, 65 for 139. That's 46.8. 977 yards passing. 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. She threw an interception when the last time these two teams met back in May. 2nd and 10, shotgun formation. As Gall empties the backfield, has a trips formation out to the left, has Price here on the near side. She'll get the snap. She'll throw the look for a slant route, incomplete. That time as the pass was looking for number 18, Chelsea Clay, 3rd down. And so for a drive that started out here with great field position, 2 straight passing plays, the exact same one with that slant route that just hasn't worked for St. Louis.
Yeah, so once again, Minnesota's defense is doing what they need to do.
3rd and 10 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 35-yard line. Single back formation, pistol formation with Gall, the quarterback, Hay behind her. As we go 2 out to the right. As a snap comes to Gall. Gall looking over the middle, throwing, looking for Knightsling, too far, incomplete. 3 passing plays, 3 incompletions, and the Vixen will take that 3 and out from the Slam.
Definitely what Minnesota needed to see there is they needed to see those passing plays fall incomplete like they were doing. Minnesota's defense held strong. They basically went that 3 and out. And you and I were talking last week about how important the 3 and out is for the Minnesota Vixen to get their defense back off their field and give the offense another opportunity.
In the warm-up, Kaylee Knightsling was kicking field goals from the 40-yard line. They'll elect to go punt formation here. A couple of times in the last matchup, they did go for a fake punt, so we will have to keep an eye on that. Back to return is a member of the Vixen. I believe it's Kaya Segula or Adri Vogt. As a kick from Knightsling is high into the air. She'll field it. That's not great, as it'll be fielded there by Segula. She'll be taken right down to the 1 yard line, and the Vixen will have their work cut out for them on this drive.
Yeah, that was great timing by the Slam to get downfield and prevent that ball from being returned at all. I don't know if Segula even saw her coming, because I want to think that if she had seen the player rushing towards her like that, she would have either called fair catch or she would have let it bounce into the end zone.
So with 6:30 remaining, 3-0, St. Louis leads the Minnesota Vixen. Minnesota, on their first 2 drives, went 3 and out, punted on both yards. So far, a net loss of 9 yards in these 2 drives. So the Vixen, who have been running the ball primarily, may have to start throwing the ball and incorporating some of Tank Nelson. As Tank Nelson in the backfield has Belvina McGrath with her as well. Murphy spread out to the left. 2 other receivers off to the right. Handoff is to McGrath. McGrath trying to get around through traffic, back up the middle to the 5, and a nice gain of 4. It'll be second down.
Yeah, that was actually Cooper on the run there that gained the 4 yards and gave Minnesota a little bit of more room to work with there behind the line of scrimmage.
So the nice rush for Cooper sets up a 2nd and 6 from the Minnesota 5-yard line. Again, a lot of runs as now McGrath comes into the game replacing Kate Murphy. Second and 6 for Minnesota from their own 5-yard line. It'll be shotgun formation. Evans, the quarterback, with Nelson in the backfield. Has McGrath flanked out to the left. And the snap handoff is to Tank. Tank up the middle to the 5, down to the 9-yard line. And that's another gain of 3 or 4, depending on the spot. And it'll be 3rd and 4 upcoming for Minnesota.
You know, it's good to see that ball go to Tank. That is her first carry of the game, you know, and when you're averaging 6.2 yards per carry, that did give you an opportunity to get that first down. But Minnesota's got short yardage to work here with their 3rd down.
So 3rd and 3 for Minnesota coming from their own 9-yard line. As they'll approach the line here with 5:12 remaining, 3-0, St. Louis leading over the Minnesota Vixen from the campus of St. Mary's High School in St. Louis. Shotgun formation. Handoff is to Tank. Tank up the middle. She's got a hold of the 15 and an excellent run on 3rd down for Minnesota.
And finally, Minnesota gets that all-elusive first down of the game, which is what they needed right now.
Well, it's exactly what we talked about too, Brian, is that you need a little bit of Tank Nelson in there because she's got the power and the speed to just bruise right through everybody, and that's exactly what she did on that rush.
Yeah, it's funny. I look out the press box window here, and I can see number 70, Chelsea Swanson's dad, pacing back and forth in the bleachers. You know, his daughter is great on defense. He's wanting to see her get that sack, but right now he's a little excited to see Minnesota moving the ball.
Shotgun formation, receivers spread out to his side. Handoff is to Tank again. Tank stutter step to the 20, pushes through to the 25. She'll be taken down there and very close to another Minnesota first down.
Yeah, it looks like they gave her about 8.5 yards on that play, so they're going to go the official measurement of 2nd and 2.
It will be 2nd and 2 here from the 24-yard line. Again, the sun setting in the backfield in the camera shot. Again, we've talked about it the last time we were here. One of the few press boxes that we've been in that faces the sun as it's setting.
Yeah, and we were actually talking to the public address announcer a little bit before the game, and he says that's normal in St. Louis for the public address boxes, the press boxes, to face the sun, or the west, and their baseball diamonds face that direction also from home plate.
And another big bruising run from Tank Nelson, and a first down for Minnesota with the ball spotted at their own 29-yard line.
And this is what Minnesota needs to do right now. They need to keep St. Louis's defense out there in this heat. Wear them down a little bit. You wear them down as they're chasing Tank Nelson around, then you can get those passes to McKaiser. You can get those passes to Segula. You can, give the ball to McGrath and let her run up the field. Wear that defense down. It gives you a lot more opportunity.
Tank Nelson on the year, the leading rusher for Minnesota, as on the season, 107 carries for 659 yards and 12 touchdowns for the rushing back from the Minnesota Vixen. So pistol formation, handoff again is to Nelson. Nelson to the 35, and she's taken down there after another nice gain. A gain of 6 there on first down.
Number 34, Nelson, the ball carrier. Gain of 6 on the play. Second down, number 24.
So the ball spotted right at the 35-yard line. That'll make it 2nd and 4 upcoming here for Minnesota. And really, until they continue to stop Tank, you got to keep rushing right up the middle.
I couldn't agree with you more right now, Alex. Tank is just, by definition, a tank.
Again, shotgun formation. Nelson in the backfield. They will send Cooper out to the right. Evans gets a snap, throws over the middle, incomplete off the fingertips of Belvina McGrath. Incomplete as that ball. It'll be 3rd down.
You know, that was only the second pass attempt of the game for Evans in all reality here. And, you know, getting that out to Bella McGrath, if she would have had the ball, she would have been met fairly quickly with the defenders of St. Louis. But in the same sense, she would have gotten them in to slam territory.
Evans passing on the season 54 for 112 with 48. That's good for 48.5%. 756 yards through the air, 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, a 55-yard long. We've also seen Connor Joe Lewis, who is active tonight, and last week Aaron McIsaac stepped into the game as quarterback for a couple of plays as well at the end of the game. Empty backfield. They'll send Cooper in motion. Handoff is to Tank. Tank up the middle. Continues to bruise forward. She's close to the 1st down. It looks like they will give it to her. 1st down, Minnesota.
Yeah, they gave it to her. They gave her forward progress before the slam got in there and started pushing her backwards. So great runs, run after run by number 34, Jeanette Tank Nelson.
This will be the 9th play of this Minnesota drive, which started at their own 2-yard line here with 2 minutes exactly remaining in this first quarter of play. And so 1st and 10 as the Vixen approach the line from their own 40-yard line. They'll spread them out here. Nelson in the backfield again with Segula here on the extreme near side, and McIsaac in there as well. Handoff is to Nelson. Nelson to the 40, and this time a number of slam get to her after a gain of 1.5 yards. It'll be 2nd down.
She's brought down after a gain of 2 on the play.
But again, as we talked about, you know, Tank's averaging 6.2 yards per carry this season, and when you're averaging a yardage of that much per carry, you can afford to have those little 2-yard, 3-yard bursts like she's getting right now, because as we've already seen this game, she will break through for those 6, 8, and 10-yard carries.
Well, and as you said earlier, Brian, the more you can keep the Minnesota defense on the field in this heat and humidity, that's exactly what you want to do. Shotgun formation, pistol formation rather, excuse me. As they'll send White out in motion to the right. Handoff is to Nelson again. Nelson across the 45, spinning through a tackle across the 50. They're in St. Louis territory.
And that's what Minnesota needed right there for the first time this game. Took them 16 minutes to get there, but they do have that 1st down in the territory.
So with 47.6 and counting seconds here, they'll quickly rush up to the line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Minnesota from the St. Louis 49-yard line. Snap is to Evans. Handoff to Nelson again. Nelson slows and gains some speed. Gain of 4 down to the 45-yard line. And that might be the last play here this first quarter.
Yeah, we're down to 30 seconds. We'll have to see what Minnesota decides to do here. They could let the clock run out and reset and take a little breather break, or they could get one more play off.
Clock at 16 seconds right now. We'll see if they're able to get there. They should be able to. As they'll go shotgun formation. Nelson in the backfield. Group of 3 onto the right. Segula here on the near side. They fake the handoff to Nelson. Screen to Segula on the far side. Segula with the whole steam. She's gone to the 30. Gets through Nightsling in the backfield. Continues to go forward. 1st down Minnesota. But slow to get up on that hit there was Kaya Segula. But it'll be 1st and 10 from the St. Louis 15.
And what a great way to end the first quarter for Minnesota. Getting that huge 1st down. They're going to have a little bit of a break here to recover. And then, they can punch her in.
Quick recap here of the half. Actually, we'll come back to that in just a moment. St. Louis leads 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. This is your home for Minnesota Vixen football. Welcome back, everybody. St. Mary's High School here in St. Louis. 3-0. St. Louis leading Minnesota, but the Vixen on the drive.
Hey fans, tonight's live broadcast of the Game of the Week is brought to you by Town Square Television and Ritchie Media Group. You can follow the Vixen on Town Square Television this season on Comcast Channel 14, townsquare.tv, and on Facebook Live on the Twin Cities for their support of the Minnesota Vixen.
In the first quarter, Minnesota started with the ball, and then they punted after a 3-and-out. St. Louis responded to that with a 8-play drive, which resulted in a 26-yard field goal from Kaylee Nightsling. Then it was another Minnesota 3-and-out, and then a St. Louis 3-and-out. And now Minnesota on the drive. This is going to be the 13th play of this drive.
Hey, conferences like the MIAA, ECC, NJCAA, GLVC, WAC, and Southern Conference are able to provide high-quality, cost-effective streaming solutions for their member schools and fans because of one of the sponsors of today's Game of the Week coverage, Blue Frame Technology. Blue Frame can provide the tools to build a custom digital network. Details available at blueframetech.com.
1st and 10 for Minnesota. Handoff was to Cooper. Oh, she's brought down. What a great tackle to get into the backfield by St. Louis's number 47, Brooklyn Devitt. And so after a gain of 1, it'll be 2nd and 9 for Minnesota from the St. Louis 14. For Cooper, we've seen that end around work so many times in the past, but just a great tackle by Brooklyn Devitt to get into the backfield and wrap her up with a big hit. And so they'll go pistol formation here this time. Nelson is the running back. Low snap, handoff is to Nelson. Nelson off to the left side, trying to push forward to the 10, continuing to move. Look at the effort by Tank, down to the 5.
Tank just basically pushes her way through that line and allows the Slam players to hop on for the ride as she progressively gets more and more yards out of each carry.
Ball will be spotted at the 7-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2. They need to get to the 5 to set up that 1st and goal situation for Minnesota. This being the 15th play of a drive that started at their own 2-yard line. And here in the early stages of this 2nd quarter, you would love to see Minnesota get on the scoreboard here. They'll go shotgun formation. Evans will send White in motion to the right. Handoff is to Nelson. Nelson trying to get through traffic, unable to do so, but we'll see where the spot is depending on where she lunged forward. And it looks like they will say 4th down. It looked like she was short.
There was no gain on the play.
No gain on the play officially. It'll be 4th and 2. It looks like they're going to leave the offense in there, though, and a chance for Minnesota to make a statement.
And I agree with this call right now. I mean, you've got your defense that's been holding strong this game, and you've got a defense for St. Louis that's been on the field now for all of 7 minutes.
Shotgun formation. Nelson is the running back. They'll fake the hand up to Nelson. Evans is throw a screen for Segula. Segula to the 5. Continues to go forward. Down to the 2.
And 2 passes thrown to Segula this game so far, and both of those passes have been huge 1st down plays for the Minnesota Vixen.
17th play of the drive. 1st and goal for Minnesota from the St. Louis 2. As they'll approach the line, shotgun formation. Nelson is the running back off to the left. McGrath out to the right. Extra protection on the line. Handoff to Evans. High snap as they were looking for Segula on the left side.
You know, and Segula as a rookie this season, you know, she's been voted to the 1st team All-America for the Minnesota Vixen, and she actually played college basketball for the University of Minnesota Duluth. Also, besides doing that, she's been a cross-country skier, triathlons, racquetball, and spike ball. So, in other words, this woman can ball.
And so 2nd and goal here for Minnesota from the St. Louis 2. This is the only 3rd matchup between Minnesota and St. Louis as members of the WFA. St. Louis has won both times. The Vixen look to change that here tonight. They'll send Cooper in motion. To the right, handoff is to Nelson. Nelson trying to get through as she continues to push forward. Did she get there? No, the slam denied.
Looks like they're going to give her maybe a yard. Nope, they're not going to give her that yard even. So they are going to stop her. It is going to be 3rd down and goal from the 3.
3rd down, goal to go from the 3.
19th play of the drive that's starting at the Minnesota 2. They've gone 96 yards. Can they finish it off with 2 of their own? As they'll approach the line here. 11:55 and a very long drive that has kept the Minnesota defense on the field. Or off the field, excuse me. As they'll go 2 in the backfield. Nelson and Cooper. Handoff is to Cooper. Cooper trying to get forward. She won't. As she'll be tackled down in the backfield. The snap never even got handed off as Emily Evans goes down for a loss of 5.
Yeah, it looked like there was some communication confusion there on the play, as Cooper and Nelson and Evans, all 3 of them, really didn't know who was supposed to end up with the ball. Ultimately, Evans kept it in her hand and was tackled for a loss.
So the Vixen are able to force the Minnesota Special Teams unit out. That'll be Katie Muller to come in to kick a field goal here for Minnesota and hope to tie this game up. As Muller the kicker, Mugas is the holder. And I believe Maria Beck is...
No, Beth Westy is
right,
actually our long snapper.
Fumbled snap. It's picked up by Mugas. Mugas down in the backfield. And it'll be a turnover on downs after the botched field goal that'll set up St. Louis 1st and 10 from their own 20. And so a 20-play drive that started at their own 2 goes without points for Minnesota. And now St. Louis gets the ball. 1st and 10 from their own 20.
Yeah, nothing hurts more than starting from your own 2-yard line, getting all the way down to your opponent's 3-yard line, and then not being able to get the ball into the end zone or over those uprights for any points.
So Gall, the quarterback, will approach the line. For St. Louis, this is the kind of play there where if you do it well, you can be able to swing the momentum significantly in your favor. First handoff right up the middle. Alta Peter, gain of 1, maybe 2. As coming away with the ball, Sil Winton back into the game.
Yeah, there's an injury on the field as well. Looks to be a St. Louis player.
So we have an officials timeout here with 10:40 remaining. 3-0 your score alongside Brian Sweeney. I'm Alex Westad coming to you here from St. Mary's High School in St. Louis. The winner of this game will host the American Conference Championship game next week due to the fact that these teams are both near the top. St. Louis number 1, Minnesota number 3 in the Massey ratings.
Hey Vixen fans, did you know that the Vixen's official integrative sports care provider is Northwestern Health Sciences University? Because peak performance begins with consistent integrative care. Coverage of this game of the week is brought to you in part by Northwestern, located in Bloomington, Minnesota. More info is available at nwhealth.edu. That's nwhealth.edu. And fans, if you have the opportunity while you're watching this game on Facebook Live, don't forget to click on the donate button. That money helps support the broadcast of these games that you're seeing.
And as the St. Louis Slam training staff continues to look at the Slam player who is down.
Presentation of this game of the week is sponsored in part by Production Truck, including all the features of a television production truck, but packed in an easy-to-use interface that can be downloaded onto a computer. Production Truck has 4-camera replay sharing to Twitter and Facebook during a live broadcast, and broadcast branding with easy-to-use graphic packages. More info about Production Truck, powered by Blue Frame Technology, is available at blueframetech.com.
3-0 your score. 10:40 remaining here in this first half of play. The injured Slam player is indeed Mary Altapeter from O'Fallon, Missouri, on the west side of St. Louis. Went to Sacred Heart University. She's being helped to the sideline here now for St. Louis. It'll be a 2nd and 10 situation coming here from their own 19-yard line. For St. Louis, Altapeter, one of their leading rushers, 32 carries, 176 yards with 3 touchdowns.
You know, one thing I want to mention there is that tackle was actually made by Sil Winton, number 32 of the Minnesota Vixen, and depending upon your angle of the ball, Sil came up with that ball in their hand and assumed that they had it before the quarterback was called down.
So 2nd and 10 from the St. Louis 19-yard line. Well, it looks like it's about the 20, so right in between the two. As they'll approach shotgun formation here. Gall will be the quarterback along with Hay in the backfield. Price out to the left along with Speckles. Knightsling out to the far side along with Price. So send Price out in motion. As the handoff is to Price. Price trying to get there. Evades one tackle before she's pushed out of bounds right about the 24, 23-yard line. And so it'll be 3rd down upcoming for St. Louis.
Yeah, and Minnesota's defense is obviously well rested with how long they had an opportunity to sit on that sideline prior to this drive. I mean, when you can go 90-plus yards on the field and keep the defense for St. Louis out there, you wear them down.
So 3rd and 6 here for St. Louis from their own 24-yard line, the 3rd play of this drive. The longest drive so far for St. Louis tonight went 8 plays. Again, for the first time for St. Louis starting on their own side of the field here tonight. Gall, the quarterback, has pistol formation. One wide out here to the left. Trips formation out to the right. They will go to that trips formation as a completion is made over the middle, and a first down there for St. Louis, as another Slam player seems to be slow to get up. So it'll be first down for St. Louis.
Gain of 8 yards on the play.
And it'll be Slam first down.
First down!
And so the Slam will approach the line here, 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Gall's the quarterback. Looks like they'll run pistol formation with Hay in the backfield. Speckles here onto the near side. They'll go with that trips formation again out to the far right. 8:51 and counting remaining here. The handoff is to Hay. Hay, with a head of steam, finds a hole right through the middle across the 40, taken down at the 45 by a number of Vixen. Winton was in there, and there were a couple of others in there, but another first down for St. Louis.
You know, that only makes sense. Taylor Hay is, one of those players that St. Louis has that's actually leading their team in rushes this year with 552 yards on 83 carries. And I want to apologize because that number is actually inaccurate, and the reason for that being is St. Louis, unfortunately, did not get their last game of the season stats uploaded for us in time.
Handoff is to Hay, taken down by Red. So a gain of 2. Red Bryant, the tackle for Minnesota, will be 2nd and 8. And there's a flag on the play, and it'll go against Minnesota.
Yeah, they're going to call a face mask against Minnesota here.
Flag on the play. A personal foul, grabbing of the face mask against Minnesota.
So it'll be 1st and 10 on the face mask there as they'll walk off the 15 yards. It'll be 1st and 10 for St. Louis from the 37-yard line.
It'll be first down and 10 for the Slam.
And so Gall will run out of the pistol again. Hay in the backfield. They'll work trips out to the far right side. Speckles here on the near side. They'll send Price in motion from right to left. Free play here as the flag gets thrown down, but taken down in the backfield. A great tackle made there by Hill. We'll see if it counts. And it'll be a penalty against St. Louis, and I would think that you would decline that. That's exactly what the coach, Ryan McCauley, will do, is he will decline that penalty after the great play into the backfield. They continue to wave decline, and so they'll mark it off. It'll be 2nd down.
Penalty has been declined.
So it'll be 2nd and 15 from the Minnesota 41 for St. Louis.
It'll be 2nd down and 14.
And so they'll approach the line, shotgun formation here. The wide receivers spread far out. Speckles and Price on the near side. Along with Knightsling, they'll send Price in motion. Handoff as the flag flies again. It'll be a false start on St. Louis.
So 2 penalties in a row here after, that face mask penalty that Minnesota got called on them has basically taken away all the yardage gained by that penalty for St. Louis.
The position marker on the far side of the field says 3rd down. I believe that's inaccurate. It should still be 2nd down. Be 2nd and 19 from the Minnesota 46-yard line. As Speckles and Clay will go out to the right. They'll work presumably pistol formation. No, they will go shotgun here. This time Hay will take a break. And doing the running backing will be Candace Watkins for St. Louis. Knightsling out to the right as well as Price. They'll send Price in motion from right to left. Gall gets a snap, throwing up for Knightsling, unable to come back to the ball as Hill played defense. Great defense at that. Ball is incomplete. 3rd down.
Yeah, I mean, really, the last time we were down here, Alex, Knightsling was pretty much the star of the game if you had to award that to somebody. But so far this game, she's only been thrown to 3 times and only caught the ball 1 of those.
So it'll be 3rd and 19 from the Minnesota 46-yard line. With 7:42 remaining here, 3-0, St. Louis leading. As a play comes in from the sideline, they'll go shotgun formation again. Watkins the running back, Gall the quarterback. Exact same formation. as the last time. They'll send Price in motion here from right to left. They'll throw again, looking for Neitzel on the slant. Pass is complete to Neitzel, but she's down at the 39. They got back to the original line of scrimmage. But it'll be fourth down upcoming for St. Louis. And it looks like they will keep the offense out on the field, or no, they will send out a kicking unit of some kind. It'll be 4th and 10 from the 38-yard line.
Well, you and I watched her during the preseason warm-ups, and she was easily drilling the 40-yard plus field goals. So what we're going to see St. Louis here, I mean, are they going to go for it? No, it looks like they are going to punt.
So it'll be Neitzel to punt, Segula back. Again, with a kick return touchdown a week ago. She was unable to get any receiving yards back on that last punt. This punt goes high into the air. We'll see how it chooses to bounce. Gets a favorable Minnesota bounce down to the 30-yard line before going out of bounds. 1st and 10 upcoming for Minnesota as they start this drive from their own 30.
Hey fans, tonight's live broadcast of the Game of the Week is brought to you by Town Square Television and the Ritchie Media Group. You can follow the Vixen on Town Square Television this season on Comcast Channel 14, townsquare.tv, and on Facebook Live. Also, special thanks to all the community stations around the Twin Cities for their support of the Minnesota Vixen.
1st and 10 for Minnesota as they will start here from their own 30-yard line. A long 20-play drive for Minnesota, and then in a botch snap turnover on downs, as the Vixen look to put some points on the scoreboard. As the defense has done a very good job. Evans, handoff is to Nelson. Nelson met at the 30. She pushes and lunges forward there for a gain of 2 on the play. 2nd down as the Vixen appear to be going, well, I thought they were going no huddle, but then they returned to normal speed.
Yeah, Bella McGrath is checking in now to join that offensive unit and bringing in the play to Emily Evans from her coaches on the sidelines. And
as the players are now draped in shade on the field, unfortunately the press box still is not. We're of many people who are putting their arms up to try to block the sun so we can see what's going on. Evans will send Cooper in motion from right to left. She'll get the snap, dropping back, looking over the middle, send it right into the ground, 3rd down.
Pass is incomplete. Brings up a 3rd down, 8 yards to go.
So 3rd down and 8 upcoming for Minnesota from their own 32-yard line.
yeah, and you mentioned the press box, the sun coming right in here, and you probably see me crouching down watching our monitor. The window in here is a little bit dirty where I can't even see what's going on the field through the glass. So it's through the openings in the windows or through the monitors what I've got right now.
So 3rd and 8 upcoming for Minnesota from their own 32-yard line. With 6 minutes exactly remaining here in the second quarter. Evans is quarterback out of the shotgun. As they'll send White in motion from right to left. Handoff is to Nelson. Nelson met at the 30, but continues to push forward. She'll be gotten down there at the 35-yard line. Unfortunately, not good enough for a 1st down, and the punt unit will come out.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate quick 3 and out for Minnesota on that series. And I think what it all comes down to is that incomplete pass that was thrown by Evans on the 2nd down attempt, because really it looked like the ball almost slipped out of her hand because it went straight to the turf. She wasn't hit. There wasn't anybody tipping the ball. So I want to say it could have been something with the heat and with the way the balls get slippery from sweat.
So Tank is on to punt. Neitzel is back to return. She's standing right now at her own 34-yard line. Again, a return touchdown the last time these two teams met back Memorial Day weekend. Nelson offside is what the coaching staff wanted, but Neitzel will field it at the 45. She finds the edge here to the 50, across to the 40. Flag comes in. We make it an illegal block in the back as Neitzel out of bounds right near the Vixen sideline across the 40. We'll see what the flag is and where it puts the ball.
Yeah, we heard the coaches in the box here and plenty of fans yelling for the offsides call. They didn't necessarily get that one, but it looks like Minnesota might be getting a call here on their behalf.
So the officials are having a conversation right at the 40. Because the flag came in here from the near sideline. Personal foul. Wait. The Vixen coaching staff is trying to communicate with the refs as far as what they think the penalty call should be. It's going to back the ball up. Still waiting for that hand signal from the official. There will be a St. Louis penalty, and that'll back up the slam.
It was a personal foul against the slam.
A personal foul
With the helmet.
as they led with the helmet. And so that's a very sizable penalty that puts the ball 1st and 10 for St. Louis from their own 36-yard line. And so here with 5:04 remaining, 3-0 St. Louis leading. Brian, you have to be happy with this effort that the Minnesota defense has put on the field today.
Yeah, I'm extremely happy with it. I know that they've watched a lot of film. They re-watched their previous game with the Slam literally a dozen times to see where the mistakes were made. And Minnesota's doing a great job compensating for those right now.
Gall, the quarterback, sends Price in motion to the right. Handoff is to Hay. Hay up the middle, trying to get through traffic, but brought down by a group tackle there. Schmott's in there. Winton in there as well. Second down.
Well, Taylor handed the ball carrier. She picks up 4 yards. 2nd down and 6.
So 2nd and 6 for St. Louis from their own 40-yard line. You hear the "Let's Go Offense" chants coming from the Slam fans here in attendance tonight. 2nd and 6. They'll go shotgun formation. Hay in the backfield. Speckles and Price out there. No Nightsling on this play. Throw incomplete off the fingertips on that far side of the intended receiver, Veronica Smith. 3rd down.
Yeah, and it went right off of Smith's hands, and I could see Amanda Atkins staring at that ball and making the turn for it because she was right there for the Vixen. Landed just about a yard or two shorter. She would have had an easy interception.
So 3rd and 6 upcoming for St. Louis. As the Vixen yet look to force another 3 and out. Nightsling will come back into the game. It'll be Nightsling and Price onto that far side as a play comes in. Hay will remain in the backfield. Clay and Speckles here on the near side for St. Louis. As they'll go shotgun formation with Hay off to Gall's right. Gall trying to draw them off sides, unable to do so though. Gall steps up into the pocket looking for Nightsling. Incomplete as she underthrew Nightsling, and another 3 and out for St. Louis.
You know, and that's uncharacteristic for Gall. I have yet to see her underthrow a receiver in the 2 games that we've covered this season for this St. Louis Slam team.
So the punt unit will come on again. Like we said earlier, the fake punt potential for St. Louis is something that we saw the last time these two teams met. And with a 6 yard needed to gain, it may be something that you see here, especially with the speed of Nightsling. Segula standing back at their own 20 to return this punt. With 4:17 remaining, the Vixen should be in a 4-minute offense from here on out. As Nightsling gets a punt, stands at her own 30. Right-footed kick is high, end over end. It will take a bounce that will favor first Minnesota, then St. Louis, and then it'll bounce right at the 33-yard line. That's where Minnesota will get it, 1st and 10 from their own 33. 3-0, St. Louis leads with 4:06 left.
Vixen fans, Northwestern Health Sciences University offers excellence in healthcare education and clinical internships. They are located in Bloomington, Minnesota, where they train doctors of chiropractic, oriental medicine practitioners, acupuncturists, radiology technicians, and massage therapists. More info on careers in the healthcare professions is available at nwhealth.edu. The Minnesota Vixen are proud to have Northwestern as our health partner and provider of sports and performance care. Coverage of this game of the week is brought to you in part by Northwestern Health Sciences University.
Minnesota will approach the line here, 1st and 10 from their own 34-yard line. A 3 and out on their last drive. We'll see if the Vixen are able to respond. Evans, the quarterback, out of the shotgun. She'll drop back, looking over to the right side. Pass is complete to Segula, down at the 40, and a gain of 7 there on 1st down.
Once again, Segula showing why, she was elected to first team All-American this year as her rookie player, and she keeps this up. There's plenty of hardware in her future, possibly an MVP even.
Coming into the game tonight, 31 receptions, 455 yards, and 6 touchdowns for Segula. But the Vixen, as their first matchup, have been held off the scoreboard here in the first half. As Evans will send Cooper in motion. Handoff is to Nelson. Nelson up the middle. She's got some holes there across to the 45, and a 1st down for Minnesota.
Number 34, Nelson on the ball carrier. She picks up 7 yards.
Nelson showing again why she was elected as a first-team All-American this year. Listen to some of these stats that she's had. Last year, she won the Offensive Player of the Year award for the Minnesota Vixen. In 2015, she was their Rookie of the Year, and she was an IWFL All-Star in 2015 and an All-American in 2018 for the WFA.
First down play, a screen looking for Segula on the far sideline. Falls incomplete, in and out of the hands. It'll be second down and 10. And again, the winner of this game will host either Mile High or Houston next week.
Nope,
not
29th.
next week, 2 weeks. The 29th, thank you. For a chance to go play at the Colorado School of Mines for the Division II Championship the weekend of July 13th. And so the Vixen approach the line here, second and 10 from their own 45-yard line. Evans, the quarterback, will send White in motion from left to right. Handoff is to Nelson up the middle. Nelson to the 45 before she's spun around. Look at her go! She got through to the tackles. The 40, 30, trying to get past Nightsling. She steps out her pass there and down at the 12, 11, 16-yard line. First down, Minnesota.
What an amazing play by Jeanette Nelson. I thought she was tackled just at the line of scrimmage. She makes a great spin move, gets a couple key blocks by her line players, and bam, she was down the field and picks up a huge first down with 2 minutes and 39 seconds remaining in the half.
So a rush of 40 for Tank Nelson, not her long on the season, her long of 67. Time out on the field with 2:35 remaining. 3-0 St. Louis leads, but the Vixen are driving again.
Hey fans, coverage of this game of the week is sponsored in part by Blue Frame Technology, the premier end-to-end streaming provider for sports organizations across the United States. With over 600 clients in NCAA Division I, II, and III conferences, and other sports leagues as well. More info about Blue Frame's end-to-end solution for production, management, and distribution for video streaming is available at blueframetech.com.
Other playoff games in the WFA this weekend. In Tier 1, the Arlington Impact is at the first game where we did a game together, Kansas City. And in Division 3, Maine at Columbus, Orlando at Derby City, Mississippi at Mississippi, the Panthers at the Royalty in that one, and Sin City, the Trojans, are at the Nevada Storm. Also, to my parents who are watching tonight apparently, hi Mom, hi Dad. Thanks for watching. Hit the donation button, please.
I think they've donated to you for the past few years. They're good. No, seriously, folks, if you are watching on Facebook Live, those donations help get Alex and I down here, along with Tom Ritchie, the camera operators, to keep these games on the air for you to watch when you can't make it here.
And we certainly hope you have enjoyed the road broadcasts that we've been able to do this year. We certainly hope to do them again in 2020 for what will be the 22nd season of existence for your Minnesota Vixen. As the Vixen will approach the line here, first and 10 from the St. Louis 19-yard line. So send White in motion with the quarterback, Evans. Evans gets a snap, handoff is to Nelson. Nelson trying to gain across the middle to the 15-yard line, down at the 14. A nice run there on first down.
He picks up 4.
So 2nd and 6 for Minnesota from the 15-yard line of the St. Louis Slam. They got here close in one of their last drives that elapsed between the first and second quarter. They got all the way to the 7 before a botched field goal snap attempt resulted in a turnover on downs. And so with 2 minutes remaining here, shotgun formation, Evans. 2 out to the left, 2 out of the right. They'll send Cooper in motion from right to left. Handoff is to Nelson. Nelson trying to gain some speed across. She continues to push forward down to the 10. She's close to the first down. We'll see where they spot it.
Looks like they're going to cover 1 yard, not even a full yard short. We're talking like maybe a foot short of that first down marker. So Minnesota's going to be officially 3rd and 1.
So it'll be 3rd and 1 from about the 9-yard line. The flag is spotted right at the 10-yard line. So minute 24, the Vixen will receive the first kickoff on the other side of the second half. So you'd like to get that double dip opportunity here and put some points on the scoreboard now and on the other side of the second half. Evans, the quarterback, gets a snap, looking left side, looking for Segula, and batted down. A nice defensive play on that far side by that safety there. Number 33, Tori Davis, to knock that out of the way. It'll be 3rd down. No,
definitely one of the best defensive plays we've seen by any team that we've covered this season.
And so, Brian, you're the coach. 4th and inches from the 9. What do you do?
Tank, up the middle.
So 1:05 remaining on the clock here in the second quarter. The Vixen will keep the offense on the field. And a chance to either extend the drive or take the lead. 1st and 10, Minnesota will run single back formation. Evans will be under center. Mugas here onto the near side with Nelson in the backfield. Evans will keep it herself. She rushes up the middle, waiting for the whistle to blow. They continue to push the file forward. Now the whistle blows. It looks like they have it. First down, Minnesota.
Yes, they are moving the chains there. That's a first down for the Minnesota Vixen. Luckily, the clock stops on these first down conversions and doesn't reset until they've set the chains. But we do have an injury as well.
We do have an injury, like you said. As the Vixen now quickly back up. I think we'll have a timeout here for Minnesota. As St. Louis has already taken one with 55 seconds remaining. That is what we will get. Haven't seen an official signal yet, but it looks like there is a timeout on the field with 55 seconds remaining. 3-0 St. Louis lead with the Vixen on the doorstep. Again, on the other side of the second half, St. Louis deferred the opening coin toss, and so Minnesota will receive the first kick of the second half. A reminder, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, please remember to hit the donation button and share a little bit of your hard-earned cash with us. And again, we want to thank the public address announcer and the scoreboard operator for continuing to be so helpful as they were in the first matchup between the Vixen and the Slam back in Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, one thing people don't realize when they watch these games at home on television is just how many people are involved in a production like this. I mean, here we have 2 people operating cameras. We have Tom Ritchie, who's controlling the shots that you're seeing and putting the graphics up. We got yourself doing play-by-play. We got myself doing color analyst and keeping some stats on the players during the game. Back home in Minnesota in Master Control, we have people that are making sure that the game stays on the air. And if this was like even a bigger production, we'd have spotters, we'd have, I mean, so the list goes on and on. So those donations on Facebook Live are extremely important for the number of people that are required to bring these games to you.
First and goal from the 8, 2-back formation with Emily Evans as the quarterback. Miscommunication there as Cooper, the ball carrier, wrapped up in the backfield, ankle tackle. She's forced back to the 10, a loss of 2. We'll have another timeout called by Minnesota. That'll be their second. They'll have one left with 45 seconds remaining here in this first half of play. And for 2 teams, Brian, that have really run up the scoreboard on some teams over the course of the season, they have done an excellent job, both of these teams, defensively tonight.
Yeah, I mean, with 45 seconds left in the half, I personally, coming into this game, did not expect to see a 3-0 score where we're at right now. I mean, I expected to at least see a touchdown by St. Louis and maybe a field goal by Minnesota. Now, Minnesota almost had that field goal on that drive that went 95 yards. Unfortunately, with a bad snap, they weren't able to get it through the uprights. So, really, Minnesota's defense is what's keeping this game alive and exciting for everybody watching, both in the stands here and around the country.
And again, if you are watching us around the country, perhaps for the first time this season, we want to thank you for joining us here on either the WFA website or perhaps mnvixen.com or even on Town Square Television's website as well. We want to thank you for joining us. If you are watching from elsewhere around the country, feel free to leave in the comments where you are watching from, and if there's a favorite player that you have on either team, feel free to leave those in the comments as well. Second and goal for Minnesota from the St. Louis 10-yard line. It will be a shotgun formation. Evans with Nelson in the quarterback. Nelson gets a handoff. The Piles push to the 10, but the Slam are able to push her back. Third down.
So it's going to be third down now for Minnesota. They got one timeout left. Do you burn your timeout here, or do you run one more play and then burn your timeout? What would you do?
Well, what I would do is I guess, and again, I'm not a coach, is I would wind it down as long as you can, take the timeout, and then try the field goal attempt. That way you don't give St. Louis any time with the ball here remaining in this first half. But instead, what the Vixen will do with 10, 11 seconds remaining, they are going to attempt it here. Third and goal from the 11. Clock winding down here. There may not be an attempt for a field goal. Handoff is to Nelson up the middle. Nelson down to the 5, but the clock hits zeros. And the Vixen coaching staff do not like that, as they thought there should have been a 1 second remaining for a field goal attempt. And the first half will end St. Louis 3, Minnesota nothing.
St. Louis 3, Minnesota nothing.
And so another chance at points, as the clock was right close there. That's a tough break for Minnesota, but they will go into the half feeling good about what they've been able to do against this St. Louis Slam defense, one of the best in the WFA. And they've been able to move the ball up and down the scoreboard, but just haven't been able to hit that final level of execution.
Yeah, we've had some great rushing attempts by the Minnesota Vixen. I mean, Tank already has 16 rushes that half, and I mean, she's really dominating the field. Kaya Segula, with her 3 receptions alone, is carrying this team down the field, because 2 of those 3 were for all-important first downs.
So after St. Louis deferred the opening kickoff, Minnesota will receive the kick on the other side of the half. St. Louis leads 3-0. This is your home for Minnesota Vixen football. Welcome back, everybody. St. Mary's High School at halftime. St. Louis leads by a score of 3-0. And Brian, a number of long drives for Minnesota that unfortunately just have gone by the wayside because of a one level of execution just hasn't been there.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen great opportunities for both teams, and unfortunately neither team's really been able to cash in on those opportunities. Minnesota's driven the length of this field twice now and come up short both times. I mean, literally that play there, the coaches thought there should have been a second left. I couldn't see the clock from my vantage point. It's not on our monitor. But, I go with the coaches. I mean, there was a lot of excitement in that half. If Minnesota can keep playing a game like they're playing now and take advantage of those offensive drives, they still have a great opportunity to come away from this game with the victory.
And so Minnesota will receive the second half kickoff. Again, a reminder, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, feel free to leave a donation to continue to allow us to bring the best of Minnesota Vixen coverage to you, no matter where you are, no matter where you may be watching from. We'll be back for the start of the second half in just a moment. This is your home for Minnesota Vixen football. Welcome back, St. Louis, Missouri, where the St. Louis Slam lead the Minnesota Vixen by a score of 3-0 here at the start of the second half. We have been deceiving you. Unfortunately, the Vixen will not be receiving the second half kickout. Instead, they will be kicking it off as St. Louis deferred the opening coin toss.
Yeah, we've made a couple mistakes in the first half on the defensive side of the ball, but the offensive side of the ball, tried to make up for it. They drove well the length of the field more than once, and unfortunately just came up a little bit short both times.
Nice and easy.
So as the sun sets behind the clouds in this really beautiful landscape that we see in front of us here, it'll be a little bit easier to see the numbers. And again, for Minnesota, couple of plays where they had the ability to score points. The botched snap on the field goal try on their long drive, their 20-play drive over the first and second quarter, and then the way that the clock ran down at the end of that half, where the Vixen team and the coaching staff was calling for a timeout, but the clock hit zeros, and they really wanted a timeout there, and from what I saw, it was real close.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to when the whistle was blown, because, I mean, that whistle was, unfortunately, they can't go to a review table like in the National Basketball Association and see when the little red rim covers around the backboard there, but we'll see what happens. And fans, tonight's live broadcast of the Game of the Week is brought to you by Town Square Television and the Ritchie Media Group. You can follow the Vixen on Town Square Television this season on Comcast Channel 14, townsquare.tv, and on Facebook Live. Also, special thanks to all the community stations around the Twin Cities for their support of the Minnesota Vixen. Coverage of this Game of the Week is sponsored in part by Blue Frame Technology, the premier end-to-end streaming provider for sports organization across the United States. More info about Blue Frame's end-to-end solution for production, management, and distribution for video streaming is available at blueframetech.com.
So Kate Murphy will kick off here for Minnesota. First time that the Vixen have had the ability to kick off tonight. Back to receive, the combination of backs who are not normally in that position for St. Louis as the kickoff is taken, and it is fielded here by St. Louis as they'll go across here. A big return here across the 40. Ooh, a stiff arm right to the face there. And the Minnesota coaching staff wants the hands to the face there, but they won't get it on the return by Kiana Smith. A return of about 20, and St. Louis will start their drive. 1st and 10 from their own 40.
Yeah, Amanda Atkins got the hand right to the face there, but that did not stop her from holding on and making that tackle.
The story of the first half, Brian, the success success that this Minnesota Vixen team has had in containing what was and has been a very potent St. Louis offense and only holding them to 3 points so far in this game.
Yeah, for a team that comes into this game averaging 33 points per game, Minnesota, when we played them here at Memorial Weekend, we also did not allow them to get 33 points. So Minnesota is really the only team that's been able to stop the St. Louis Slam this season.
We got a whistle and a false start, and that backs up the Slam early here. They were penalized 3 times for a false start in the first half, and they started again here in the second.
Yeah, I'd like to say it's contributed to the Minnesota Vixen fans screaming in the bleachers. I'm looking out the window over here to my left, and Minnesota fans travel well, and there's a good dozen or so here, maybe even 2 dozen for this game.
First and 15 rather, as they end around play here for Price. As Price trying to get around to the far side across the 40 to the 45, pushed out of bounds. We'll see where they spotted a nice end around play, as that'll be spotted right at the St. Louis 49-yard line. And so just short, it'll be second and about 2 or 3. So it'll be 2nd and 2 for the Slam from the St. Louis 49-yard line. As they go single back formation, pistol formation with Hay in the backfield. Gall is the quarterback. Speckles and Price here on the near side. As you hear the Vixen fans screaming loudly, Hay up the middle, has enough for the first down, across and down to the 48-yard line. First down, St. Louis.
Yeah, Hay was definitely the go-to runner for that first half for the Slam, and it looks like they're going to, keep her busy the second half as well.
So 1st and 10 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 48-yard line. Again, the winner of this game will host the American Conference Championship game in June 29th, either here in St. Louis or back at Dinah Coleman Stadium, depending on the outcome of this game. 3-0 your score, St. Louis up. It was a Kaylee Knightsling field goal in the first quarter that are the only points on the scoreboard. Gall, the quarterback. Pistol formation will be a trips bunch formation here on the near side as Hay comes up to the shotgun now. It's a snap for Gall. Looking for Knightsling on the slant route. Incomplete. Great play on the defense there by Crystal Nenas.
Crystal Nenas in her, I believe, 3rd season with the Minnesota Vixen. Her rookie season back in 2016. Actually, that would make this her 4th season, Her rookie season in 2016 in double overtime against the then New York Sharks with the 100-yard pick 6 to send Minnesota to their first national championship game in this era of women's football.
2nd and 10 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 48-yard line. Feels like Coleman Stadium right now here in St. Louis. As it goes pistol formation rather. Gall, the quarterback, Hay in the backfield. Receivers spread out 2 on 2 aside. Knightsling, a threat in the first game, has been relatively ineffective here in the second. As Hay comes up into the shotgun. Gall dropping back to pass, throwing to the right side, looking for Knightsling. Pass is complete. She stumbles down there on the completion. First down, St. Louis at the Minnesota 29.
And unfortunately for Minnesota, that was a big play by the St. Louis Slam with that pass there completed to Knightslinger, and that's going to keep this drive going for for St. Louis.
So 1st and 10 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 29-yard line. So go pistol formation again. One receiver here onto the near side is Chelsea Clay. Hay in the backfield. Handoff is to Hay. Hay rushing off to the right side. Met in the backfield by Hill. Taken down right at the line of scrimmage.
And Hill's got more reason to be excited. She got engaged this week. So congratulations to Ann Thyssen and Caitlin Hill, 2 great Minnesota Vixen players that are looking forward to spending the rest of their lives together.
So it looks like they'll give Hay a gain of 1 officially. The 2nd and 9 from the Minnesota 28-yard line. As the Vixen fans continue to get loud for their team. As a loaded, extremely loaded, 3 in the backfield with the quarterback. As a center receiver in motion, we're going to have a whistle and a timeout. St. Louis, their first year of this half, with the clock stopped at 12:19, 3-0 St. Louis up over Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, they had something going on their defense that St. Louis didn't like, and it caused St. Louis to have to call a timeout. Vixen fans, Northwestern Health Sciences University offers excellence in healthcare education and clinical internships. They're located in Bloomington, Minnesota, where they train doctors of chiropractic, oriental medicine practitioners, acupuncturists, radiology technicians, and massage therapists. More info on careers in the healthcare professions is available at nwhealth.edu. The Minnesota Vixen are proud to have Northwestern as our partner and provider of sports and performance care. Coverage of this game of the week is brought to you in part by Northwestern Health Sciences University.
St. Louis comes back to the field. Sixth play of this drive. Let's start at their own 35-yard line. To start the second half of play, again, the loaded formation in the backfield with 4 players on the backfield. They'll send a blocker out in motion to the right. As a keep to Price, it's given out to the right side. A rush there and a big gain right up the middle. It'll be close to the first down as the ball is stopped due to forward progress at the 21. And the rush up the middle was completed there by number 45, Chelsea Vinson. She does play defense, but she gets the ball a lot too. 10 carries, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns on the season. It's going to be 3rd and 2 for St. Louis with the ball spotted at the Minnesota 21-yard line. And we'll go with that loaded backfield once again. Price is slotted as the quarterback with 3 options in the backfield. They'll send the blocker out in motion to the right. Handoff again to Vinson. Vinson running to the right. Looks like she may have lost a yard.
Yeah, they definitely took away a yard from her. I can see the down marker moving back. So this is going to actually bring up 4th down and 3 for St. Louis on their opening drive.
Looks like they'll keep that loaded backfield out on the field. I'd be surprised with how well the 2 teams have been doing defensively. If you have a chance for points, I'd be surprised why they're not taking it. But it looks like they will leave the offense out on the field. 4th and 3 from the Minnesota 22-yard line. Loaded backfield again. Price as the quarterback. Vince in the back out of the pistol formation. They'll send the blocker out again to the right. Hand off to Vincent. No, it's a keeper. Price racing out to the right side. She has a seam. 10-5 touchdown St. Louis. Danielle Price on the end around. A good fake play. And the first touchdown of the night goes to the St. Louis Slam.
Yeah, and that's Danielle Price's 6th touchdown on the year based on the statistics that we have going into this game. I mean, she leads their team with 393 yards, I'm looking at the wrong stat here. I was looking at receiving for Danielle Price. They're not rushing yardage. Danielle Price, actually, that's her 3rd rushing touchdown of the year.
The extra point off the leg of Danielle Thompson, who is perfect on the season. 28 for 28, kicking extra points is good. And with that, the St. Louis Slam lead 10-0 with 10:50 remaining in the 3rd quarter of play.
Yeah, Minnesota, they got to figure something out here. They've had a couple great drives down the field, haven't been able to come up with the points yet, and that's uncharacteristic of a Minnesota Vixen team.
Minnesota, on their last drive to end the first half of play, went, as I'm counting and doing my math here, went 11 plays, but with the clock winding down, they were unable to get another play off with the timeout, which the coaching staff thought that they should have gotten the timeout, and it was close. So we'll see what the Vixen are able to do with their first offensive chance here in this second half of play. Back to receive. It is the usual suspects, I guess you would say. Kaya Seguila and Caitlin Hill back on the return duties for Minnesota. And Knightsling will kick off. Both receivers for Minnesota standing right at their 11-yard line. And as the sun goes down and the lights come up, the spotlight is bright for this one. Knightsling has her kick go high into the air. It's fielded by Hill on the far side at the 20, to the 25, to the 30. Gaining speed to the 35. Hit by a couple of slam and sent down at the 38, and she is not moving.
There's an official timeout on the field. She got hit by it.
And the training staff coming to the aid of Caitlin Hill quickly. So as the training staff here continues to look at Caitlin Hill, 10:42 remaining. 10-0, St. Louis leads over Minnesota. And again, you have a member of the St. Louis training staff as well, also looking, owner of the Vixen, Laura Brown, is over there as well. And what was once a raucous crowd has suddenly fallen silent.
Yeah, Coach Laura Brown is in her 6th year of ownership for this team. She's done great things with this team since her and her husband James took over back in 2014. They've developed one of the great teams in the Women's Football Alliance as far as name recognition, social media presence, game day attendance, television coverage, with Town Square Television. I mean, the list goes on and on. So besides what Laura Brown has been able to do just locally for the Minnesota Vixen, she has also upped the ante for the rest of the Women's Football Alliance on what those teams need to do to be successful as well. And as you can see if you go to the Women's Football Alliance site right now, each week there are more and more games being televised. Some are live on Twitter, some are live on YouTube, some are live on Facebook, and then still others are live on local cable affiliates like Town Square Television, like we're doing right here.
Other games tonight in the Alliance on the Division II side. On the National Conference, the New York Wolves have been traveling to the Pittsburgh Passion, and Detroit is traveling to Columbus, and those two teams will face off at the higher seed. I believe it would be either Pittsburgh, Columbus, or Detroit that would be hosting, depending on the outcome of that one. And here on the American side, the American Conference number 4, Houston Energy, are at Pacific number 1, the Mile High Blaze. In Tier 1, the Arlington Impact travel to the Kansas City Titans. The Impact at 7-1, and the Titans at 2-6. Meanwhile, with the Tier 3 games going on as well, the Maine Mayhem at the Columbus Vanguards, the Orlando Anarchy at the Derby City Dynamite, the Mississippi Panthers at the Mississippi Royalty, and the Sin City Trojans at the Nevada Storm.
As long as we've got a little bit of break in the action here, I want to talk about a few other of the All-Americans that Minnesota has for the first team All-Americans this year, with 5 of them. Of course, you've got number 96, Cynthia Red Bryant, who's been a Vixen player since its inception, lives in North St. Paul, Minnesota. She's the team captain. In 2014 and 2015, she was the Defensive Player of the Year, and she's made the All-Star team in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, and now in 2019. So that's 6 times in her 21-year career that she's been voted onto the All-Star team. So big shout out to Cynthia Red Bryant, her wife Nadine Schmidt, professional bodybuilder, both excellent people, both active in their local communities. You can see Red out helping. She was recently at the Minnesota Vikings facility for the coaching kids and women on how to play football and how to make the moves and stuff. So it's great to see so many of these athletes giving back to their communities back home in Minnesota.
The players and the coaching staff continues to look at Caitlin Hill. Is now Hill being helped to her feet. Still waiting for movement to the sideline, and now slowly starting to work her way over. And so the Vixen will get the ball 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line.
Yeah, Caitlin's definitely walking a little bit stiff, which tells you, she got pretty hard, and when we saw her with that ball, she ran into a wall of Slam players.
And the crowd here responds. And we'll see how the Vixen are able to respond for their fallen teammate. So get the ball 1st and 10 from their own 39-yard line. No points to show for it as of yet. We'll see if they're able to change that on this drive, down by a 2-possession game and down by 10. So Minnesota approaches the line as the Slam fans come to life. 2 back. Set here. Murphy on the near side. Segula far out to the left. So with the snap, Evans, hand off to Cooper. Cooper trying to go on the end around out to the far side. Got back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe a yard further, but she'll stay in bounds. Gain of inches or 1. Be 2nd down.
You know, what really hurt Minnesota right now is, we're 4 minutes and 25 seconds into the second half, and that's their first play from the line of scrimmage. And right now, when you're down by 10 points, the clock is your enemy.
So 2nd and 9 here for Minnesota from their own 40-yard line. As we'll approach the line here, again, one back in the backfield. It's Grace Cooper. Segula out to the left, along with White, and then Nelson on the near side. Evans gets the snap. She's looking. She has tons of time. Throwing it to the near side, looking for McGrath, but it's caught by Nelson. Flag is on the play on a face mask by the Slam.
Yeah, we're either going to see a face mask or a horse collar or some sort of illegal tackle there, but way to go, Nelson, holding on to the ball and making sure that you kept that ball moving.
First down for Minnesota on the catch by Tank out of the backfield. Not out of the backfield, rather, on the slant. It will be a face mask penalty. That'll tack on another 15 yards. And the Vixen moving company is moving once again, as this time the ball will be spotted at the St. Louis 37.
Yeah, and that's, it's unfortunate. You asked what they were going to do with Caitlin Hill's injury, and she's actually still sitting on the trainer's table being assessed. And from what I can tell, they're actually looking at her left wrist and forearm area.
So 1st and 10 for Minnesota from the St. Louis 37-yard line. As the Vixen here working on their first drive of this second half, they'll approach the line here. They'll go in a close set. Nelson as a blocker, with Cooper as the running back in the backfield and brought down for a sack. 2 members of the Slam get into the backfield for a combined sack. It was number 52 who got in there first. That is Camila Russell, and number 21, Raven Williams, on the assist. Both players lead the Slam in sacks. Russell with 2.5 now, and Williams with 2.5 now.
Yeah, and that's going to bring up 2nd down for Minnesota there. That was a loss of about 9 yards on that sack. So unfortunately, actually the official number is 7 yards. So you're going 2nd and 17 now. So that's not the direction Minnesota needs to be moving if they want to get some points up there with 8:55 remaining.
2nd and 17 from the St. Louis 44. They'll send White in motion from left to right. Handoff given to Cooper. Cooper to the 45. Tries to gain some speed now to the 40. Continuing to move forward to the 35. And another nice run to make it 3rd and long. But 3rd and more manageable for Minnesota.
Yeah, you can definitely handle a 3rd and 8 as opposed to a 3rd and 17 or a 3rd and something like that. So the real question here now is you have 2 more plays here. So Minnesota's going to have to do another rush here, but there's a bad snap, unfortunately.
Evans screen here to Segula. Segula trying to spin out of a tackle, able to do so. To the 30, spins out of another to the 25, and a great play. Will it be enough for the first down? It will be. We'll see where they spot it.
The players in the down marker on the St. Louis sideline just kind of fell all over each other. And they are giving her the first down. They are moving the chains.
So Kaya Segula continuing to add to an impressive resume so far this season, spinning out of 2 tackles to get that first down for Minnesota on 3rd and 8. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Minnesota here from the 26-yard line. 8:14 remaining. As the Vixen will work shotgun formation. Cooper in the backfield. They'll send Nelson in motion from left to right. Handoff is to Cooper. Cooper to the 25. Hits a flurry of Slam there. She'll get to the 21-yard line. A gain of 5 on first down, 2nd down.
Yeah, the players are untangling themselves. Cooper's definitely doing something a little bit different this half than we saw from her in the first half. Unfortunately, in the first half, we saw number 42, Grace Cooper, running into more players and not quite getting the yardage she needed, whereas so far this half, we've seen her pull out some big plays and get Minnesota the all-important yards.
2nd and 5 for Minnesota here from the 21-yard line. They'll go shotgun formation. Cooper in the backfield. So they'll have 3 wide outs to the right. Under the near side, Amy Mugas. I'm sorry, that's McGrath, rather. Cooper, handoff, breaks through 1 tackle to the 20, down to the 18. They'll give her forward progress over the 19. 3rd and manageable once again.
Yeah, once again, Minnesota on the 2nd down, gets a couple more yards, gives themselves about 3rd and 3. So another great opportunity to see them get a first down and keep this drive going.
As McGrath comes off the field, Murphy will come in to replace her. And the play comes in. 3rd and 4. 6:55 and counting. Here in this 3rd quarter of play. It's the first playoff matchup all time between Minnesota and St. Louis, as St. Louis leads the all-time series 2-0 with wins in 2017 and then earlier this season. As Evans awaits a snap, and off to Cooper on third down. Cooper hits the hole up the middle. We'll see where the pile can be pushed. I think she got one, maybe two. Not enough for a first down, though.
Yeah, they're only going to give her 1 yard on that drive, Alex, so it is going to be 4th down and 2 for Minnesota here.
So 4th and 2 upcoming. Evans looking to the sideline, looking to see if they're going to bring out the kicking unit or if they're going to stay on the field. It looks like they will stay onto the field as McGrath comes back into the game.
Yeah, McGrath runs in, goes right over to the quarterback, Emily Evans, and tells her what play the Coach McCulley wants to have drawn in there. And, you know, we got some coaches up here in the box with us that have a great view of this field that hopefully we're going to see some action here, and Minnesota's going to keep this drive going or even punch it in.
4th and 2 for Minnesota from the St. Louis 17-yard line. Evans, a quarterback, has Cooper in the backfield with her. Hand off to Cooper, met immediately. Turnover on downs. Cooper tried to go right up the middle, but the Slam got great penetration on the line, and it'll be a turnover on downs, and St. Louis will have the ball again.
Yeah, not what Minnesota needed there. They've done so well driving the ball down the field this game, and unfortunately they're coming up empty-handed each time they get into the offensive zone.
So with 5:33 remaining, St. Louis will have another shot at it here. They scored a touchdown on their first drive of the second half, an end-around play, a very nice one at that, made by number 88, Danielle Price, with a loaded backfield. And that was something in our conversations to start this second half over the halftime period. We're having conversations with the folks up here in the press box. That was one of the recommendations that they try those end-arounds, and it certainly worked for the Slam on the last drive.
Yeah, it definitely did. We saw number 88 with Price with that touchdown there the last time that the Slam had the ball.
And off out of the backfield, trying to escape the pressure. Nice wraparound tackle made there. And Thyssen in the backfield.
And Thyssen, the newly engaged as well, the other half of the engagement there with Caitlin Hill and Thyssen, two great Vixen football players. Play together on the field. One plays the offensive side of the ball and is super strong on that aspect of it. The other's on the defensive side of the ball and is super strong there as well.
So Thyssen on the tackle for loss. The rusher there was Candace Watkins for St. Louis. It will set up a 2nd and 12 for the Slam from their own 19-yard line. Leading 10-0. They'll approach the line. Hayes in the backfield along with Gall, the quarterback. Two receivers left, two receivers right. Knightsling, the target to watch on the far right side. So get the snap. Gall with time, throwing to the right, looking for Knightsling. Pass is complete to Knightsling. A flag on the play. Right now, a gain of 4. It'll be pass interference on Minnesota. And so the pass interference penalty will set up a automatic first down for St. Louis. So you're still trying to figure out the ball positioning here.
Yeah, I'll give you a little update here. Caitlin Hill has got her helmet off. She's also got her jersey off. So looking like she's not going to be back for the rest of this game. So number 26, Caitlin Hill, really gave it a lot. And right away, St. Louis with a false start.
It's amazing how on your home field that there's that many false starts that have been going against the Slam so far.
Well, you know, last week when we were in Iowa covering the Phoenix game, we saw multiple times where Iowa had too many players on the field, on their home field. So there's some sort of communication going on between these teams where they're not quite comprehending when the snap count's going to be or what players are supposed to be on the field.
Hand off to Hay, trying to find some room on the right side. She's pushed out of bounds. She crossed the 25-yard line. She should have gotten that 5 back. I think she did. It'll be 2nd down.
Yeah, Hay proven once again why she's the all-purpose rusher for the St. Louis Slam with that. Her 3rd carry only of this half, but she had a majority of the carries in the first half as well and keeps moving St. Louis down the field, unfortunately keeping the Minnesota defense on.
2nd and 9 official here from the 26-yard line. We'll go shotgun formation. Gall with Hay in the backfield. They'll go pistol. Knightsling here on the near side along with Price. On the far side, Watkins the receiver. They'll go to shotgun formation now as Hay will step up. Gall gets a snap, looking for Knightsling. Pass is complete, and another one-handed catch made by Kaylee Knightsling.
Knightsling impressed me so much when we were here over Memorial Weekend, and she comes out here again tonight and impresses me again. And then my favorite part, if you notice, she's walking back from that catch, and she's got a little swag going, just, moving back and forth. A great all-around player in Kaylee Knightsling.
And it looks like the Slam will bring out their loaded formation again. As it'll be Hay with, I believe that's Vincent in the backfield. It is Chelsea Vincent. As they'll go loaded formation here on a 3rd and 1 from their own 35-yard line with 3:10 remaining. St. Louis leading by a score of 10-0. They'll go shotgun formation. Vincent as the quarterback. Here on 3rd and 1. Handoff given to Hay. Hay finds a hole up the middle across the 40. Oh, and she's taken down. A dangerous-looking tackle there. It'll be 1st and 10 for St. Louis from the 41.
She gained 6 yards on the play. That's a slam. First down!
Yeah, we could hear the fans outside our booth here. They wanted a flag on that as Hay was being tackled. That arm was wrapped around her neck, and that could have easily caused an injury. Minnesota got lucky there that flag wasn't thrown.
So 1st and 10 for St. Louis from their own 41-yard line. Vincent remains in the game as a quarterback with Hay in the backfield. Keeper to Vincent again. A nice play. Vincent across the 50, trying to push forward. Atkins, a nice play to wrap her up, push her out of bounds as she crossed the 40, and the Slam again in Minnesota territory.
She gained 19 yards on the play. That's another slam. First down!
And so the ball spotted for St. Louis. It'll be right at the Minnesota 39-yard line. We'll have a whistle on the play and timeout Minnesota to try to really reset this defense.
Yeah, Minnesota's going to use their timeout right here as they should. They need to get the defense over there and do a little bit of a huddle and figure out what they want to do to keep this game moving in their favor.
So 10-0, St. Louis leads, 2:23 remaining here in the 3rd quarter.
Hey, Vixen fans, did you know that the Vixen's official integrative sports care provider is Northwestern Health Sciences University? Because peak performance begins with consistent integrative care. Coverage of this game of the week is brought to you in part by Northwestern, located in Bloomington, Minnesota. More info is available at nwhealth.edu, nwhealth.edu. Conferences like the MIAA, ECC, NJCAA, GLVC, WAC, and Southland Conference are able to provide high-quality, cost-effective streaming solutions for their member schools and fans because of one of the sponsors of today's Game of the Week coverage, Blue Frame Technology. Blue Frame can provide the tools to build a custom digital network. Details available at blueframetech.com.
So ball spotted here for St. Louis on the Minnesota 40-yard line. Gall back into the game as a quarterback. Gall will send Price in motion from left to right. The flip on the end around for Price. Price has some room to run. 35, 30. Escapes all of the tackles before being pushed out of bounds as she crossed the 25-yard line. Another first down for St. Louis. 3 straight plays where they've had a first down as a result.
Yeah, Minnesota Vixen's defense right now is just not quite understanding what's going on. The St. Louis Slam reached into their bag of plays and is throwing something different at them each time that ball is stamped. In Minnesota, they're trying to recover, trying to see what to do next, but unfortunately, it's usually one play too late.
St. Louis will return on a 1st and 10 from their own, or from the Minnesota 24-yard line, with that loaded backfield that worked on the end around. Price is set as the quarterback with some additional blockers. Russell is one of them. We'll see how they choose to use it here. Handoff to the right side. Vincent across the 20, and she's down as she just crosses the 20-yard line. Gain of about 4 here on first down. 3 yards officially. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Yeah, with Vincent in at quarterback, she's calling her number more often than not, and we actually have another Minnesota player down on the field. Looks like it's to be number 82, which would be Jocelyn Nelson.
So Nelson, the player, down for Minnesota. And for Nelson on the year, a very effective year coming from the defensive line. 4 sacks on the year, leading the team, leading Minnesota, that is. We'll have another injury timeout here. Minute 45 remaining in this 3rd quarter of play. 10-0, St. Louis leading over Minnesota. A reminder, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, wherever you might be watching us from here tonight, Please remember to hit that donation button so we can continue to bring you the best of the WFA and the Minnesota Vixen to your home, to your office, to wherever you might be watching the Minnesota Vixen from on a weekly basis.
Yeah, Jocelyn's walking off the field under her own power. I can see the frustration as she undoes the snaps on her helmet. So I'm not surprised we're going to see them back in soon.
As the Slam returns to the line again with that loaded backfield. Gall is the quarterback this time. As Gall will have Russell, Vinson, another back that I just can't quite see the number of in the backfield. Handoff is to Vinson again. Vinson met immediately and then pushed backwards. She may have gotten a gain of 1 or the original line of scrimmage, but it'll set up a third down.
All right, so this is going to be probably the biggest third down play of this quarter for Minnesota as we have 1:19 left on the clock. Minnesota, they've allowed that touchdown, and right now they need to stop it from happening again.
If you're St. Louis, you want that first down to continue to wind the clock and make the deficit bigger for Minnesota. If you're Minnesota, you need a stop to keep it a 2-possession game. Gall, the quarterback, has Hay in the backfield, trips out to the left, one receiver way out to the right. It's Nightsling. They may try to go on that side with Hill out. Gall gets a snap. Looking left side into the trips formation. Intercepted! No, it's incomplete. I thought that they had it. As a pass there, Tilly Tilford on there in the back.
And Tilly gets up knowing that she should have had that ball. That ball hit Tilford right in the numbers. She tried to wrap it up, and unfortunately it hit the ground before she had possession.
So 4th and 5 again for St. Louis from the Minnesota 19-yard line. It looks like Nightsling will come on to try a field goal attempt here. Does look, though, as Gall is the holder, for what that's worth. And as Gall will step it out, it looks like it'll be about a 36-yard field goal attempt. So ball is down. Gall's kick, or Nightling's kick rather, is good. And with that, 39-yard kick, 13-0, 26-yard, thank you. And with 40 seconds left, the score reads 13-0, the Slam up over the Minnesota Vixen.
Well, the best part to come out of that play is Minnesota did keep it to a 2-possession game. So with 2 possessions, Minnesota has been driving the ball, and in reality, they should be able to get 2 touchdowns before this game is over, as long as their defense can continue to stop the Slam from moving down the field.
So you're scoring for St. Louis. Back in the first quarter, they opened the scoring on their first drive with an 8-play yard and a 26-yard field goal for Nightsling. Then they did not score again until the first drive of the second half with an end around for Price for a 22-yard rushing touchdown, and then the most recent field goal by Nightsling to make it 13-0 St. Louis.
Fans, tonight's live broadcast of the Game of the Week is brought to you by Town Square Television and the Ritchie Media Group. You can follow the Vixen on Town Square Television this season on Comcast Channel 14, townsquare.tv, and on Facebook Live. And special thanks to all the community stations around the Twin Cities for their support of your Minnesota Vixen.
So the Slam to kick off after the field goal. 2-possession game still. Segula is in the back. I believe it'll be Kate Murphy also in the backfield for the return duties as it goes bouncing past. It's McGrath, rather. It will go out the back of the end zone for a touchback, and Minnesota will get the ball. 1st and 10 here, and they need points on this drive.
Yeah, with 40 seconds left in the third quarter here, Minnesota's going to, have to use this time to push down the field as far as possible, and then at the start of the fourth quarter, if for some reason they haven't scored in this 40 seconds, has to do it fairly quick so that they can get the ball back. Because, again, time is their enemy at this point in the game.
Their only drive of this second half was a 8-play drive that resulted in a turnover on downs after the Vixen moved the ball from their own 39-yard line to the 17-yard line. And that's really the third drive that where the potential for points has been there, but it just hasn't been that final level of execution. We'll see if the Vixen are able to do it on this one. White in motion as Evans the quarterback. Evans dropping back, steps up into the pocket, looking in, incomplete. Ball intended for Grace Cooper. As a pass was thrown up into the air, it was knocked down. Looking for the interception was Jamie Skinner with 2 interceptions for the Slam on the year. It'll be 2nd down.
Yeah, what great coverage by the Slam on that play. Cooper, somebody who we don't normally see go up for the passes. Had an opportunity there, but unfortunately didn't come down with it. She actually has only 7 yards on 1 reception this season.
So 2nd and 10 for Minnesota from the 25-yard line, their own 25-yard line. 35 seconds remaining here in this third quarter of play. 2 rushers in the backfield with Emily Evans. One out to the left, and they'll send White in motion now on the line from right to left. Evans, the handoff up the middle. I think Tank has it, but Tank is unable to get anything. If anything, she lost a yard. Slow to get up, though, now.
She stopped for no gain.
No gain, but still slow to get up.
Yeah, she does eventually get up. She was trying to make a decision there. I mean, it's one of those times where you're sitting there with 14 seconds left in the third quarter on a quarterfinal championship game for the American Conference here, and you want to get to be able to host that semifinal game against the winner of the Mile High Blaze or the Houston Energy at home next week.
Third quarter. Our score. St. Louis 13. Minnesota Vixen.
And with that, the horn. That'll end the third quarter of play with the St. Louis Slam leading 13-0. We'll be back for the start of the fourth quarter. This is your home for Minnesota Vixen football. Welcome back, everybody. 13-0. St. Louis leading over Minnesota at the start of the third quarter. And while we have a moment, some words for you.
Yeah, Minnesota Vixen want to thank their sponsors of all these road games this week, including Town Square Television, Blue Frame Technology, Northwestern Health Sciences University. We couldn't be here producing these games and putting them on the air for you without these sponsors. And most importantly, we want to thank you, those people that have clicked on that donation button and sponsored these games as well. Coverage of this game of the week is sponsored in part by Blue Frame Technology, the premier end-to-end streaming provider for sports organizations across the United States. With over 600 clients in the NCAA Division I, II, and III conferences, and other sports leagues as well. More info about Blue Frame's end-to-end solutions for production, management, and distribution for video streaming is available at blueframetech.com.
We've said it before, we'll say it again. The winner of this game will host the American Conference Championship game on June 29th. If the Vixen are able to pull off the comeback, Sean Parker, Kelly Schultz will be with you at Coleman Stadium on the 29th. Should the Vixen be able to pull off that comeback. Empty the backfield here will be Emily Evans and these Minnesota Vixen. As it's 3rd and 11 from the 24. Evans with time, throws over the middle, pass incomplete. As she was looking that time for Grace Cooper. It'll be set up a 4th down. And it looks like they will send out the punt unit, and Tank Nelson will go back to punt. Knightsling standing right now at her own 46-yard line.
Oh, seriously? That's cool.
And for the Vixen, they will need a very quick stop here, as the clock is will continue to wind. And unfortunately, that 0 has to change soon. So Nelson, who stands at her own 13-yard line, with Knightsling now standing in Minnesota territory. Tank's punt. It's a line drive. It will not be fielded by Knightsling, but instead will take a Minnesota roll all the way down to the 41-yard line, where, standing there, Tilly Tilford able to touch it, and that's where it'll be down 1st and 10 for St. Louis from their own 41-yard line, and a chance, perhaps, to put this game away.
Yeah, this is where Minnesota's strong defensive team has to step up. You've got players like Crystal Nunez that are good with an interception. Unfortunately, Caitlin Hill, who's got a pick 6 this season, is out for the rest of this game. But then you've got players like Adkins and like Tilford and Schmatz that are all known to step up when they're needed on that defensive side of the ball. Even Mugas has a couple interceptions for points.
So 1st and 10, starting this drive for St. Louis. The 36-yard field goal from Knightsling was how they ended their last drive after what was, if I'm doing the math correct, a 12-play drive. So for Minnesota, you have to get the slam off the field quickly. Call the quarterback with Hay in the backfield. Will send Price in motion from left to right. Handoff is to Hay. Hay up the middle, able to escape a couple of Vixen, but only a gain of 2 or 3 on that first down rush. It sets up 2nd and 7.
And I mean, I got to emphasize right now, what St. Louis is going to do is we're not going to see them pass the ball. We're going to see them continue to run the ball, let that clock tick. Make Minnesota use one or both of their last 2 timeouts that they have available if they want to stop the clock. So right now, it's going to be up to the defense of the Minnesota Vixen Vixen to help them win this game, because St. Louis is going to take every second you allow them to snap the ball.
So 2nd and 7 for St. Louis from their own 45-yard line. Shotgun formation. Gall this time with Watkins as the running back. Handoff is to Watkins as she'll go off to the left side, but met in the backfield. A nice tackle for a loss of about 1. That'll set up 3rd down.
It's going to bring up a 3rd down and 8.
So 3rd and 8 here again. We expect to see them running the ball, as Gall will be the quarterback as the play comes in from the St. Louis sideline on the far side. 13:33 and counting here. 2 timeouts for Minnesota, 2 left for St. Louis. As time quickly becoming a factor, they'll go shotgun formation. Gall with Watkins in a single back shotgun. Handoff, fake to Watkins. Gall throws. Pass is complete there for Knightsling, but oh, what a tackle there. You talk about real football. That's real football.
Yeah, more often than not, I tell people that I work for a women's professional football team, and of course, you know what their first question is, to which I always say, no. These are women that wear full padding, and they hit like anything you've ever seen. And that right there was an example of a hard tackle.
In a similar story, as these games here on Suburban Community Channels, TV 19 out in the White Bear Lake area. I'll get to that story in a minute. Shotgun formation. Gall, Hay in the backfield. Knightsling and Price out to the left, trying to draw the Vixen offside on this 4th and 3. But the Vixen line standing strong, and we're going to have a timeout called. This one time called by St. Louis, their second with 1 remaining. 12:31 remaining here in this football game.
Yeah, that's 2 times this game that we've seen St. Louis try to draw the Vixen offside with a hard count, and neither time have they been successful. Minnesota's defense very rarely gets offsides or a neutral zone infraction. They are stern at watching that ball snap before they move.
Not to belabor the point, but to return to my story that I was getting harping on, we run a weekly highlight show called Sports Path, where we were trying to show some of the Minnesota Vixen highlights. And one of my colleagues asked me, is it real football? Is it good football? Anybody watching this game tonight can definitely tell this is the best football that you can have. It'll be a punt formation this time. Knightsling, again, a threat to run, has Segula in the backfield waiting to return this punt. She stands at her own 12. Knightsling, rugby-style kick. Goes high into the air where Segula can field it at the 10. Segula breaks through a couple of tackles before being wrapped up nicely, in a good special teams tackle made there by St. Louis's number 18, Chelsea Clay.
Yeah, so with 12 minutes and 19 seconds left, Minnesota has to find a way to go to the end zone 2 times if they want to pull out the victory here, because they're going to need 2 touchdowns along with the point conversions afterwards.
The defense for Minnesota did its job, forcing the 3 and out, and now it's time for the offense to be able to work in tandem. Only 3 drives for St. Louis, this being the Minnesota 3rd drive of the second half. So both teams, when they've had the ball, have had the ball for an incredibly long amount of time. It's because of that the time has become a factor here in this one, with the Slam leading 13-0 with 12:19 remaining. As a whistle blows to start the play clock. Evans out of the pistol formation. Nelson in the backfield. Handoff is to Nelson. Nelson to the 25 before she's pushed down as she crosses the 26, 27-yard line. And another nice rush on 1st down. But the Vixen need to start moving out of a no huddle or a quicker formation.
Yeah, Minnesota's definitely got to move quick here. We got McIsaac checking in now, bringing the play into Emily Evans. Her and Coach McCulley were watching that last play that Nelson got the couple of yards on, and McCulley told her this is what we need to do, and she's bringing that play into Emily now.
So 2nd and 7 for Minnesota from their own 22-yard line. Working off on the left side. We're loaded here for Nelson. Nelson gets through a couple of tackles, continues to push forward down to the 30, and a 1st down for Minnesota as the ball will be spotted at their own 34-yard line.
Yeah, and that's a great thing because it stops the clock just long enough for that 1st down chain to be started, and we'll wait for the referee to wind the clock again. But it gives Minnesota a chance to catch their breath while they get ready to run another play and get another 1st down.
So 1st and 10 for Minnesota from their own 34-yard line. As Emily Evans brings the play in. Quiet now in the stands here at St. Mary's High School. There'll be a pistol formation. They'll send White in motion from left to right. Handoff is to Nelson. Nelson trying to get through, met immediately by the slam, and you really see the slam starting to load that box because they know that Tank Nelson is coming up the middle.
Yeah, Tank Nelson was slow to get up once again here. She gets up on her own power, but you can tell that all these hits up the middle are starting to wear on her.
So 2nd and 9 for Minnesota from their own 34-yard line.
Yeah, in the third part of Minnesota's three-headed monster just checked in. That's Bella McGrath, number 20 in her rookie season.
So they'll approach the line, 10-25 and counting. Shotgun formation. Evans, a quarterback. Nelson in the backfield. Segula's out there, flanked far out to the right. So with the snap, Evans stepping up in the pocket, looking incomplete. They wanted a flag, did the Vixen, for some contact right within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, but the ball falls incomplete, 3rd down.
Yeah, Emily threw it where Cooper, number 42, was supposed to end up, but unfortunately with that little bit of contact, it didn't allow her to get where she needed to be for that catch.
So the Vixen will approach the line as McGrath will come back to the sideline, looking for the play, and this time McIsaac will bring it in. Huge 3rd down play coming up for Minnesota. They had a 3-and-out on their last drive. A drive that turned into a turnover on downs. And then their first drive here of the second half. As the Slam fans now starting to come to life and make some noise. Egged on, urged on by their defense. Evans, a quarterback, empties the backfield. It's 2 out to the left, 2 out to the right. She'll get the snap as the blitz comes, throws over the middle, complete to Tank. Tank to the 45, taken down at the 47. Excellent play for the Minnesota Vixen and a 1st down. You saw Tank motion it, 1st down Minnesota.
Yeah, she's waiting. She's waiting for our PA announcer back home in Minnesota, which happens to be myself. Get all excited there, and that's another Minnesota Vixen, and the crowd all chimes in with 1st down. I don't think I've ever said 1st down at a game.
Well, it's good when you have that sort of crowd interaction. And again, as we both PA announcers for different teams, we certainly can attest to that. So 1st and 10 for Minnesota here from their own 46-yard line. Inside of 10 minutes now here in this 4th quarter. Evans has 2 in the backfield. Well offside on the Vixen. Excellent cadence by Emily Evans. Oh, it is false start. Oh, dang it. That's too bad.
Yeah, unfortunately there. Looks like somebody at the top moved a little bit early, caused that defender to jump off. And, you got to hand it to St. Louis there. They saw that player jump, and they moved, and that way they'll throw the flag on that every time.
So that'll back them up 5. It'll be 2nd and 15 here from the 41-yard line. 1st and 15, excuse me. So 1st and 15. We'll see what the Vixen choose to do. Clock stopped. Now it's running 9:21 and counting, as it is supposed to do. And they go shotgun formation. They'll keep all the receivers in close. We expect the run here. Evans gets the snap. They'll go pass this time. Pass complete. What a play design there as Cooper gets the ball across the 40. She can't stay in bounds, but she had daylight behind her. 1st down, Minnesota.
Huge 1st down play for the Minnesota Vixen. Gets that clock stopped for a time. We got an injured Slam player. Doesn't look like it's Nightslinger that's down on the sideline there, and Minnesota's trainers were there instantly to help her out as the St. Louis trainer now makes her way over to cross the field.
So Nightsling, they're looking at the ankle of Kaylee Nightsling. We have a stoppage in play. St. Louis up 13-0 with 9 minutes remaining here in this 4th quarter of play. And while we have a moment, we're going to continue to talk about some of the other things going on in the WFA.
Yeah, I would really. That's the problem with the time zone thing is I would really like to have a score of the Mile High Blaze game, but in reality, it's just starting about 10 minutes ago. So Mile High Blaze, of course, are hosting the Houston Energy. The winner of that game will end up playing the winner of this game.
And the other 2 games being played tonight on the National Conference side, as we take a look at it, the New York Wolves at Pittsburgh and Detroit at Columbus. Both of those games should have been 6 o'clock local time kickoffs, so those should be done.
Hey, Vixen fans, Northwestern Health Sciences University offers excellence in healthcare education and clinical internships. They're located in Bloomington, Minnesota, where they train doctors of chiropractic, oriental medicine practitioners, acupuncturists, radiology technicians, and massage therapists. More info on careers in the healthcare profession is available at nwhealth.edu. The Vixen are proud to have Northwestern as our partner and provider of sports and performance care. Coverage of this game of the week is brought to you in part by Northwestern Health Sciences University.
As the St. Louis Slam training staff doing an excellent job tonight. Both of these training staffs doing an excellent job being right on the spot when an injury occurs. They continue to look at Kaylee Knightsling here. 9 minutes remaining. Of course, that's Kaylee Knightsling, comma, here in the Minnesotan dialect, of course. 13-0. The Slam leading, and now Knightsling able to walk off the field on her own power, wanting some cheering from these Slam fans, and why not? She has been playing very well tonight. A little slow in the first half, but has really picked it up here in the second half.
Yeah, and it's great to see that she is able to walk off on her own power, because that left ankle really looked like she was in pain when she went down and was grabbing it and shaking it away from the trainers.
And so the Vixen will return to the field here. They'll have 1st and 10 from the St. Louis 38-yard line on a play that so far started at their own 20. And it's gone 7 plays, this being the 7th play of the drive as the clock winds now inside of 9 minutes remaining. Evans, a quarterback, shotgun formation. Nelson in the backfield, has 2 receivers on to the left, to the right. Evans looking to go through the air. Pass, looking for Cooper again. Cooper has it once again. Across to the 25. She breaks 3 of a tackle. She then gets pushed out of bounds down at the 21-yard line. The Grace Cooper connection works for Minnesota.
Yeah, Grace Cooper is having excellent success with her receptions this game, which, you know, like I said, going into this game, she just had the 1 reception, and now here in back-to-back plays, Grace Cooper has had huge first downs, helping Minnesota move down the field with only 8:37 remaining.
So the ball spotted at the 24-yard line of the St. Louis Slam. They'll go 1st and 10 here. The clock continues to wind. The Vixen have had chances for points. They've been in the red zone 3 times tonight, and so far, no points to show for it. And that really the difference in the game so far. Evans, a quarterback, has Nelson in the backfield, same formation, with Murphy and Cooper out to the left side. Evans steps up, throws to the right side, passes complete to Segula. Segula to the 15 before being thrown out of bounds. Clock will continue to wind. It'll be shy of a first down. And Kaya Segula slow to get up as well, but she'll be able to get up on her own power, return back to the huddle as the clock continues to wind.
Yeah, so that was a great 9-yard reception by number 11 rookie sensation Kaya Segula. Puts up 2nd and 1. They're actually going to not give her that forward progress. It looks like they're only going to give her 6 yards on that reception.
So 2nd and 4 here from the 16-yard line. That'll be a pistol formation with Nelson behind Emily Evans. Low snap picked up here. Nelson trying to gain some speed, tried to hop over one defender, unable to do so any further though. It'll be 3rd down upcoming.
So you've got 7 minutes and 18 seconds left in the game. You didn't get any gain on that play, so you have 3rd down, 4 yards to go. Minnesota Vixen needs to get into the end zone here no matter what, so that their defense can come out, make a stop, and give their offense another opportunity to drive the length of the field.
So Vixen approach the line. Shotgun formation. Evans with Nelson in the backfield. Segula and White here on the near side. She'll get the snap. Dropping back to pass. She'll keep it up herself. Plenty of room to run. And before she spins down, did she have enough to get the first down? Looks like the spot says no. It'll be 4th and 1. 4th and inches maybe.
Yards on the play. It'll be 4th down, less than a yard.
So what a great play drawn up there by head coach Ryan McCulley on that 3rd down. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough push from that back line to give Emily Evans enough yardage for the first down. But she is going to stay in, and we're going to see what can happen here with number 16 for the Minnesota Vixen coming onto the field with Kate Murphy.
We'll see how they choose to do. They may try to draw the Slam offside. I believe that would stop the clock. Or they may try to do a quarterback keeper. That's how they converted a 4th down back in the first half. Nelson, the running back, in the backfield. Evans, the quarterback, under center. Handoff is to Nelson. Nelson met in the backfield. Will the pile get pushed forward? No. The Slam are able to stop and force a turnover on downs.
So that's definitely stopped the clock, like we said, but not the way that Minnesota wanted it to do. And we've got a Minnesota player slow to get up once again.
And I believe it's Tank Nelson who's down. There's been a couple of times tonight where Tank has been slow to get up. And so with 5:47 remaining, the Slam will take over 1st and 10 from their own 15-yard line. Timeouts remaining. St. Louis has 1 left. Minnesota has 2. And the Vixen defense in their last drive was able to force a 3-and-out.
And I do have a score update from the Houston Mile High game. I don't know what quarter it's in, but currently Houston is leading Mile High 22-14.
So an excellent football game over there in Denver. As we've said before, the winner of that one will travel to St. Louis or Minnesota 2 weeks from today on the 29th. And the winner of that game will travel to the Colorado School of Mines in their wonderful new football facility out there to play in this Year 2 championship game. So the Slam will take over here 1st and 10 from their own 15-yard line, with the intent of running out the clock and the season for your Minnesota Vixen. And they'll go 2 in the backfield here to start. Pistol formation as Watkins is in the additional back. Out of the pistol with Hay out to the left as a shotgun. Takes the handoff to Hay, then gives it to Watkins. Watkins with a head of steam. She's got daylight. Down to the 40 before being taken down from behind. And another Vixen slow to get up, but a huge gain on 1st down for St. Louis.
Yeah, Watkins the second half has really been coming into her own and helping the St. Louis Slam do a crazy job of running time off the clock as they move the ball up the field.
So an 18-yard rush there for Watkins sets up St. Louis with a 1st and 10 from their own 33-yard line. And they'll load the backfield again. Watkins in the pistol set. And Hay to the left. Ball again, they'll take the handoff to Hay, then it gives to Watkins again. Watkins with some steam again, and another 1st down across the 45. 12-yard gain for Watkins. Back-to-back plays, back-to-back 1st downs. And so the Slam continuing to not just wind the clock, but really run the ball up the field. So they'll set up 1st and 10 here from their own 46-yard line, moving left to right across your screen, leading 13-0 here with 5 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter of play. Gall, the quarterback. Hay in the shotgun set. Knightsling back into the game at the far wide out on the left. Gall's throw, looking for Knightsling. Incomplete. There's a penalty flag or 2.
Yeah, definitely the right call there. Minnesota had coverage all over Knightsling, and unfortunately that coverage included holding her, so she wasn't able to get to that pass that was coming her way.
So that'll set up another 1st down situation for St. Louis. And so 1st down for St. Louis as a ball will be spotted. Looks like it'll be spotted right at the 36-yard line of Minnesota. So 4 plays on this drive. Each one has started on a 1st down. As the Slam will continue to work out of the shotgun formation here. As it'll be Gall, the quarterback, Hay out of the shotgun. We have a whistle. Oh, we had a whistle. Yes, we do. We do have a whistle. And it'll be timeout. And now they're winding the clock again. Okay.
Sometimes even the refs get confused.
So 1st and 10 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 38-yard line. Officially is where the ball will be spotted. Gall out of the shotgun. She'll get the snap. Gall stepping up into the pocket, looking left side. Pass is incomplete, in and out of the hands, as that pass was looking there for Veronica Smith. 2nd down.
Yeah, and Beulah Momani was on the coverage there. Much better job than that pass before, where she was able to, unfortunately, got that pass interference call. And Beulah made sure that she came up to me the last time we were here, because I have a habit of butchering her name. So Beulah, I'm sorry. I just want you to hear that I've said it 3 times correctly in a row.
2nd and 10 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 38-yard line. 4:34 remaining here, with the Slam leading 13-0. Timeouts remaining. Minnesota has 2. St. Louis has 1. They'll go pistol set again. Gall the quarterback. Hay in the backfield. Price wide out far to the right. As the handoff is to Hay. Hay able to evade traffic to the 35 to the 30. Trying to cut forward. Continuing there. And a group tackle by the Vixen as she crosses the 25-yard line. Another first down for St. Louis.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Minnesota, that clock continues to run. You know, they're going to set the chains here. The referee's going to wind the clock, and we only have 4 minutes and 24 seconds left in this game. And Minnesota doesn't even have the ball right now, so the defense needs a big play here, whether it's a pick six or something along that line to keep the play moving in their favor.
So 1st and 10 for St. Louis from the Minnesota 26-yard line. It'll be a pistol formation here. Gall the quarterback. Price near just off the line. Gall keeps it, throwing the ball up, looking, pass incomplete, but another flag is thrown. It's a pass intended for Veronica Smith.
That's going to be holding against Minnesota.
It is holding against Minnesota.
And so that will give the Vixen even further back, and another first down for the St. Louis Slam, as this time the ball spotted at the Minnesota 15-yard line. So we'll see what the Slam are able to do here. They have been methodical on this drive, not having faced a third down. So we'll see what the Slam are able to do. The Vixen sideline still making a lot of noise, as are the Vixen fans in attendance here. Two of the best fan bases in the WFA gathered here tonight at St. Mary's High School. Gall with Watkins and Hay in the backfield. And Gall gets the snap. Handoff is to Hay. Hay rushing off to the right side, able to push forward before she was taken down close to the line of scrimmage. Gain of 1. There's the ball down at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, and Madison Schmatz is in on that tackle. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to call her name a lot tonight, but usually she is much more aggressive on the defense than that. And I do have an update at halftime in the Windy City. Or no, I'm sorry, they're in the Mile High City. Halftime right now, the Mile High Blaze and the Houston Energy are tied at 22 apiece.
So 2nd and 9 for St. Louis here from the Minnesota 15-yard line. Hay and Watkins in the backfield again. Handoff is to Watkins. Watkins gaining a head of steam, trying to find some holes to the outside before she's pushed out of bounds at the 12, now the 11-yard line. And that'll be a third down upcoming. We get a whistle, and it should be a Minnesota timeout. That is their second. They have 1 remaining here in this football game.
Hey fans, tonight's live broadcast of the Game of the Week is brought to you in part by Town Square Television and the Ritchie Media Group. You can follow the Vixen on Town Square Television this season on Comcast Channel 14, townsquare.tv, and on Facebook Live. Also special thanks to all the community stations around the Twin Cities for their support of the Minnesota Vixen. And if you're around in Minneapolis next weekend, Alex, you can head on down to Loring Park Pride Festival and meet your Minnesota Vixen, where they will have a tent next Saturday and next Sunday at Pride Weekend in downtown Minneapolis. Great opportunity to get out and meet the Minnesota Vixen. Maybe you like what you're watching on TV and you want to you want to try out and be a part of the Minnesota Vixen team next year. That is a great opportunity to ask the Vixen players more information on what they did to get ready for this season and when tryouts will be this fall.
Certainly a lot of things with the Vixen in the community. We love seeing the Vixen in the community. They do have a very active role in it, and certainly something we look to continue to see as the summer progresses and the fall begins once again. 3:03 remaining here in this fourth quarter of play. St. Louis leads 13-0 on this 9th play of the St. Louis drive, following the turnover on downs by Minnesota, as they'll go 3rd and 6 here from the 11-yard line. It looks... I thought they were going to try a field goal. Now they won't. Okay. Gall with Hay in the backfield. So spread out the receivers. 1 out to the left and then 2 out to the right. Gall will fake the throw to the right side. Now Gall rolling out to the right, trying to wind some time. She will throw it away. Incomplete. The pass there was looking for Price on the far sideline, and a gift for Minnesota.
Brings up 4th down for St. Louis. And, St. Louis really has nothing to lose here. I would go for it. I mean, you're going to make Minnesota have to drive the length of the field with about 2 minutes and 55 seconds left, because if you go for it and it's an incomplete pass, it's going to only run off 2 seconds. If you go for it and it's a rush and they tackle you right away, it might run off 4 or 5 seconds. But then Minnesota's only going to have a little over 2 minutes to go roughly, 50, 70, 80 yards, which is going to be tough because they're going to have to do it twice.
Knightsling will be on here to try another field goal. She's got 2 already tonight. This one will be about 26 yards. Knightsling did have some ankle issues earlier. We'll see if it's a factor here on the field goal attempt. Knightsling kick is up, and it is good. And with that, the St. Louis Slam lead by 16-0 with 2:57 remaining here in this football game. As you hear the vuvuzela sounding here out of the crowd here in St. Louis. Well, we have a moment. Again, some more words for you.
Vixen fans, quality sports and performance care is found at Northwestern Health Sciences University at nwhealth.edu. Northwestern is the official integrative sports care provider of the Minnesota Vixen because Vixen athletes know that peak performance begins with good health. Coverage of this game of the week is brought to you in part by Northwestern Health Sciences University.
Not including a forfeit, the lowest points that the Slam have been held to in this season have been 28 points. That came both times that they faced off against the Kansas City Titans. And so with 2:57 remaining, 16-0 the score, you certainly will think that the Vixen will be able to hold them to that. And as this time, it will not be Knightsling to kick off. It'll be Danielle Thompson doing the kickoff duties. And she will squib a line drive kick that bounces at the 40. It can be fielded by the Vixen, and they will have to take it forward down to the 45. And this is really going to be a good set of field position here, as it's a 47. So with 2:49 remaining, one timeout in the Minnesota Vixen pocket. A short field to try to drive the scoreboard.
Yeah, and that was number 32, Syl Winton, on the return for the Minnesota Vixen. Another All-American, Syl Winton, in their first season. Great rookie, great on defense. I can't wait to see how they develop over the offseason and come back next year in their sophomore year.
Lots to look forward to for Minnesota as the 2019 season hopefully doesn't wrap up tonight, but in the event that it does, but lots to look forward to moving into 2020, a football season that the games for which will start up in April again next year. And I would certainly hope that next year the Slam have to travel up to Minneapolis.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago the Slam traveled up to Minnesota, so maybe they travel up or maybe they take a year off.
Nice catch by Kaya Segula at the 34. They have to hurry. It was a good throw by Evans, and Segula with a nice adjustment to come back to that football. They have to hurry as the clock will stop temporarily before it winds again once the ball has been set. So 1st and 10 for Minnesota here from the 34-yard line. Evans, the quarterback, out of the shotgun formation. She gets a low snap. She has to try to rush forward. She'll simply fall on it. That may force Minnesota to use their final timeout. They will not. They'll go to continue with the hurry up, so it's a loss of about 10 yards. It's well spotted on the St. Louis 47-yard line.
It's so unfortunate when situations like that happen for Minnesota. They come in here with a great game plan. The defense has been executing it extremely well.
Evans' throw pass is complete there to Murphy, trying to spin out of tackles there. A gain of 8. As the clock hits 2 minutes now. A very good completion, but it'll set up a 3rd down here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Vixen are playing by the NCAA rules, so there is no stoppage of the clock at 2 minutes as it continues to wind with only 1:44 remaining.
So shotgun formation again. Snap pulled down by Evans. She'll throw on the left side. Segula's open. Nice catch, but it's another around the helmet tackles. The ball spotted at the 20. You have to hurry if you're Minnesota with the clock stopped temporarily. So 1st and 10 for Minnesota here as they continue to move with some urgency. So 1st and 10 from the 20. You hear the Vixen fans demanding it. We have a whistle from the far sideline and timeout St. Louis. That's their third with 1:27 remaining.
Yeah, so St. Louis elects to use their final timeout here. I think all they really want to do is they want to give their defense a chance to rest. They're looking for the shutout here against Minnesota to put a stamp on their season and show everybody that they're ready for the next round, whether it's Mile High Blaze or the Houston Energy.
Again, a reminder, folks, if you're watching us on Facebook Live tonight and you would like to leave a donation with us to try to continue to improve our coverage of the Minnesota Vixen into next season as well.
And I do have a final score here. Pittsburgh Passion over the New York Wolves by a score of 41-6. So the Pittsburgh Passion will move on to the National Conference Championship game. We'll find out who they play a little bit later on.
And if you have that score while we're still on the air here tonight, that score between, let me check my bracket again, Detroit and Columbus, feel free to leave that as a comment on Facebook so we can figure out the outcome of that one.
Already got it here for you, Alex. Detroit beats Columbus 24-8. So the National Conference Championship game will be between the Pittsburgh Passion and the Detroit Dark Angels for the Division II.
Evans flush out of the pocket, passes complete to White. White with some hole to the 5. Touchdown, Minnesota!
And with that, Minnesota once again extends their streak of games that they have scored in to 2 years. It's been 2 years since the last time the Minnesota Vixen were shut out. It was on June 17th, 2017 against the Dallas Elite down in round 2 of the playoffs that season. So Janessa White, very important score right there for the Minnesota Vixen.
For Minnesota with 1:19 remaining, you have to go for 2 to make it a one-possession game. And then hope, beyond hope, that there is a successful onside kick completion. It is not impossible, just unlikely. But if there's any team that can do it, it's your Minnesota Vixen. The ball will be spun at the 2-yard line.
And I actually have to send a thanks to Don Rao, who is a former Minnesota Vixen player, actually runs the camera for the stats at all the home games. She's the one that's been sending me those score updates. So thank you, Don, very much. It is appreciated, and the rest our viewers appreciate it as well.
Point conversion for Evans. It's good! We got a football game! Emily Evans, the completion. I think Grace Cooper got it. The 2-point conversion is good. 16-8, St. Louis.
And you know, my favorite part about that 2-point conversion is it means the backseat coach was wrong with his score prediction. So as much as I enjoy the backseat coach, I like to see him underestimate most teams in the Women's Football Alliance. It's great that we have people out there making the scoring predictions. You got Backseat Coach, you have Michael Burmy, the super fan, you have Easy Football Rankings, who he and I go back and forth quite a few times on different things. It's all in fun, though, because we both want what's best for the league, and that's success. But right now, we've got a one-possession game. Minnesota's going to have to line up, go for the onside kick, and then just do what they've done.
So it'll be the onside kick attempt. A play that is not seen often. We'll see if the Vixen are able to execute. As the ball, again, reminder, has to cross at least 10 yards. So the ball has to make it to the 45, where the Slam have lined up 9 players within 5 yards of that 45-yard line. All of the Vixen are aligned on the near side. Katie Muller will be doing the kicking. We'll see if she chooses to kick it right at somebody or kick it high into the air. Minnesota 1 timeout remaining. Should they be able to recover this? Muller to kick. And we'll away. Muller squibs it. It's recovered by St. Louis. So down at Clay on the return. So down it right at the 46. And that looks to be the ball game as St. Louis is able to run the timeout on this one.
Yeah, we're going to see what Minnesota's obviously got one timeout to burn here, so St. Louis, they're able to take a knee a couple times, and Minnesota can stop the clock just the once, unfortunately.
So with a minute 16 remaining, 16-8 your score. The Slam over the Minnesota Vixen as the offense returns to the field. And what looks to be victory formation. So they'll approach the line here at the 46 on 1st and 10 from their own 47. Gall under center in victory formation. Takes a knee, the clock will wind. And immediately a timeout by Minnesota.
A timeout has been called by Minnesota.
And so that'll set up a second, and the ball will be spotted. Waiting for the official spot. Looks like it'll be at the 45. It'll be second down and about 12.
Yeah, and it is unfortunate here. Minnesota had some great opportunities in the first half. They had a 95-yard drive that came up just a little bit short. They had another drive towards the end of the first half that they turned the ball over on a snap miscommunication there. And unfortunately, you look at some of these players. You've got Red Bryant walking out there. You've got Crystal Nenas, Madison Schmatz. You've got Adkins. You've got Tilford. You've got Mugas. You've got so many of these players on defense right now that commit so much of not just their football season to the game, but their entire year to the game of football. And these women, this loss here is gonna hurt them, and unfortunately, it does happen this way.
On second down, victory formation again. Gall under center will take it. She'll down it. The clock will run.
Gall takes a knee. Brings up a third down.
So it'll be third down here. We'll see how the official time works out, but from my math, I'm not sure that there will be any time left on the clock. Both teams without timeouts. And you hear the Minnesota fans cheering for the Vixen, saying that the Vixen were the better team today.
And I can't say I disagree with that, Alex. They controlled the ball. They controlled the tempo of the game. It was a few great attempts by Nightslinger. It was a few really great runs by Watkins and Vincent and Price that really were the difference in this game.
And not even that, but just that those last couple of plays right there was difficult for the Vixen to be able to execute those plays, and unfortunately it came down to 3 plays really for Minnesota that were unable to give them the victory here tonight, as the clock will wind down and hit zeros on the Minnesota Vixen season as the Slam are victorious by a score of 16-8. We'll take a moment. We'll be right back. This is your home for Minnesota Vixen football.
Minnesota 8.
Welcome back, everybody, to St. Mary's High School, where the Minnesota Vixen fall tonight by a final of 16-8 here to the St. Louis Slam. And Brian, for a game that was tied, or not tied, it was 3-0 St. Louis at the start of the second half. Really, it was a couple of plays on both sides of the football, offensive and defense, that led St. Louis to victory, and Minnesota, unfortunately, to heartbreak.
Yeah, you and I talked before the game that this was really going to be the game to watch this weekend in Division II football. We saw, 2 lopsided scores in the National Conference. Right now in the other game in the American Conference, as far as I know, it's still 22-all. But this game, I can tell you right now, in my honest opinion, the winner of this game is going to be your Division II national champion.
And I completely agree with you on that, Brian. You just look at how well and how talented both of these teams are on both sides of the football. And really, it came down to a couple of different plays that had those plays gone a different way, maybe we're looking at a different score, not necessarily in Minnesota's favor, but just a different outcome all in all. And it's amazing how football is a 60-minute game. And unfortunately, if it doesn't go your way for those 60 minutes, you're going to be ending up on the wrong side of the scoreboard. But really, the difference for this one here tonight, when we look at the scoring from throughout the game, it started back in the first quarter on St. Louis's first drive, a 26-yard field goal from Kaylee Nightsling. Put the Slam on the scoreboard 3-0. That would be it until the first drive of the second half, where on that first drive, it was an end-around rush by Danielle Price for 22 yards and a rushing touchdown. The extra point from Knightsling gave them, or not from Knightsling, Thompson rather, gave them the 10-0 lead. Then they would score again on their next drive to the Slam with another Knightsling field goal, that one at 36 yards. Then it would be another touchdown, or another field goal rather, by Knightsling, a 27-yard field goal. Then on that following drive, Minnesota able to get on the scoreboard, a touchdown reception made by Janessa White for 22 yards, and the 2-point conversion was good. Evans to Cooper out of the backfield. And unfortunately, time ran out on the Vixen on their game here on the playoffs and on their season.
Yeah, Minnesota's going to regroup, though. I mean, they're a tough team. They're a resilient team. Obviously, when you've been around for 21 seasons, you know how to recover from games like this. And next year being an odd year, next year being an even year, Minnesota's an even year team, whereas the Minnesota Lynx in basketball is always an odd year team. With the Vixen, they're an even year team. They won their division championship in 2016, won it again in 2018. So 2020, they're going to be back with a vengeance, and they're going to go far.
Well, Brian, as this is our last road game of the season, our last game of the season for Minnesota Vixen, I want to thank you for joining me on these broadcasts. It's been a fun season for you, and we hope to see you again next year, and as I'm sure you will, as the PA voice of your Minnesota Vixen.
You know, I had an absolute blast with you, Alex. You and I first met each other back on April 6th in Kansas City for the game against the Titans, and you've been a joy to work with. I want to thank Tom Ritchie for putting all this together. It was Tom that came to Laura and I and recommended putting these road games on the air, and I really want to thank Toby and Town Square Television, all the rest of the staff there, for allowing us to bring Minnesota Vixen football not only just to the fans in Minnesota on Town Square Television, but we get viewers around the world, and that is really something to be proud of.
We also want to thank our camera operators here in St. Louis, your son, Logan, and Wolf as well, for working with us here today. And again, for all of you who have been joining us across the season, no matter where you've been watching from, we want to thank you for taking the time to be here and be a part of this coverage. A reminder, if you're watching on Facebook Live, the donation button is there. If you want to help us bring Vixen coverage to you next season, feel free to hit that donation button and give us a little help. Also, we want to thank Sean Parker, Kelly Schultz for doing the home games again. We certainly hope to see them back again next season. Hopefully no forfeits, cancellations of any kind, so we see more of them. But again, we really want to thank them for their time and their effort as well.
And to thank our big sponsors this year that also help bring all these games on the air with Blue Frame Technology and Northwestern Health Sciences University. Without those sponsors, we wouldn't have been able to put these games on the air, so we owe a lot of thanks to them for stepping up and allowing these games to come into your living room or onto your mobile device.
And so, for Tom Ritchie, Brian Sweeney, and our entire Town Square Television crew, my name is Alex Westad. The final score here from St. Mary's High School in St. Louis. St. Louis 16, Minnesota 8, as the Slam will advance to the American Conference Championship game in 2 weeks' time. This is your home for Minnesota Vixen football. We'll see you next season.